Good morning and welcome to the New York City Council preliminary budget hearing on land use. At this time, can everybody please silence your cell phones? If you wish to submit testimony, you may do so at landusetestimony@council.nyc.gov. Again, that is landusetestimony@council.nyc.gov. At this time and going forward, no one is to approach the dais. I repeat, no one is to approach the dais. Chair, we are ready to begin.
All right, good afternoon, and thank you for attending today's hearing on the Committee on Land Use regarding the fiscal 2025 preliminary budget and the fiscal 2024 preliminary mayor's management report. I am Councilmember Salamanca, chair of this Committee on Land Use. I am pleased to be joined in this hearing by the chair of the Subcommittee on Zoning and Franchise, Councilmember Kevin Riley, and the chair of the Subcommittee on Landmarks, Public Siting and Disposition, Councilmember Hanks. I would like to acknowledge members who have joined us today. We've been joined by Councilmember Chair Riley, Majority Leader Farias, and Councilmember Chair Hanks. At today's preliminary budget hearing, we will hear from the Landmarks Preservation Commission and then the Department of City Planning afterwards, and finally the public around after we hear from City Planning. The Landmarks Preservation Commission, or LPC, is responsible for protecting New York City's architectural, historical, and cultural significant buildings and sites by granting them landmark status and regulating them after designation. There are over 37,000 designated buildings and sites in the city and 156 historic districts. LPC reviews applications for work on designated properties, issues permits, investigates complaints, and initiates actions to ensure compliance with the landmarks law. LPC also administers a federally funded historic preservation grant program that we look forward to discussing today. At the outset, I want to thank LPC for their efforts this year at breaking out of the traditional preservation mold and into communities of color like mine. The commission proposed designation of the Joseph Rodman Drake Park and Enslaved People's Burial Ground will help raise public awareness about slavery in colonial America, preserve and protect the sites, and honor the legacy of enslaved people. This is ambitious and important work, and I applaud the focus here. When evaluating LPC's budget, its fiscal 2025 preliminary total is $7.4 million, about $173,000 lower than a fiscal 2024 budget adoption. The net reduction results from increases in collective bargaining adjustments for LPC staff, offset by 2 rounds of programs to eliminate the gap, or PEGs. The PEGs in November and preliminary plans include both PS and OTPS savings. LPC increased its baseline revenue forecast for permit revenue by $250,000 in November plan to help meet its PEG target and avoid headcount reduction. Generally, staffing at LPC has been stronger than at other city agencies. There have been no real needs so far in fiscal 2024, although we hope to hear from the agency about its budget needs today. I would like to now turn it over to the subcommittee chair Hanks to share her opening remarks.
Thank you, Chair Salamanca, and welcome once again to the Landmarks Preservation Committee leadership and members of the public who are watching this hearing. For 6 decades, LPC has sought to use the power of preservation to revitalize communities, drive investment into existing buildings, and tell the story of New York. Importantly, over the past few years, LPC has taken a more holistic view of the importance of ensuring equity in its work. This means that telling the many stories of New York, including stories that are buried, sometimes quite literally in the ground, requiring LPC urban archaeologists to excavate them, and other times stories billed by historical underpresentation, racism, or other factors. It is positive to see LPC taking a broader view of what requires preservation and historical designation in the city. And today, the communities hope to learn much more about what the ongoing progress around New York making equitable designations across the 5 boroughs. That, of course, includes my home borough, Staten Island, which is home to New York's oldest standing building dating from 1662. LPC designated the Bilyeu Stillwell Purnane House as a landmark in 1967, and it was added to the National Register of Historic Places in 1976. I hope to better understand how LPC evaluates the economic and cultural impact of designations and how their outreach processes are engaging New Yorkers. As Chair Salamanca mentioned, the federally funded program for restoration work is of particular interest to make sure low-income homeowners may live in historic buildings as well as nonprofits, and they have the necessary supports to preserve our shared heritage as New Yorkers. The committee is also to look forward to hearing more of in LPC's efforts at processing work permits applications, enforcing complaints and possible violations, and supporting conversations and climate change resiliency projects, and much, much more. With that, I will pass it back over to Chair Salamanca, and I thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you, Chair Hanks. Before we hear from LPC and Chair Carroll, I would like to thank the committee staff who helped prepare this hearing. Daniel Krupp, the Principal Financial Analyst, Jack Story, Finance Unit Head, Chima Opicheri, Finance Deputy Director, Arthur Hung, William Vidal, and Deborah Zerner, Land Use Councils, Brian Paul and Paris Strouder, Land Use Deputy Director and Director, and my Chief of Staff, Shannon Knotts, and all of the staff working in my office for my two co-chairs today. After LPC, we will hear from the Department of City Planning. A reminder that the public will testify after the city planning hearing. If you are here to testify in person, please fill out a witness slip at the Sergeant at Arms so that we can put you in the speakers list. Additionally, if you would like to testify remotely, please note that you must sign up at www.council.nyc.gov/testify. I will now pass it over to our committee counsel to swear in LPC leadership before turning it over for their testimony.
Thank you, Chair. Appearing today for the LPC are Chairperson Sarah Carroll, Executive Director Lisa Kersavage, Akeem Bashiru, Director of Fiscal Management. Panelists, would you please raise your right hands? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony before this committee in an answer to all council member questions?
I do.
I do.
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Chair Salamanca and Chair Hanks. Good morning to you and the members of the Land Use Committee and the Subcommittee on Landmarks, Sightings, and Dispositions. I'm pleased to be here today to speak about the Landmarks Preservation Commission's fiscal year 2025 preliminary budget. I am joined today by Lisa Kersavage, our Executive Director, and Akeem Bashiru, our Director of Financial Management. The Commission's mission is to protect the significant architectural, historical, and cultural resources of our city. The preservation of historic resources revitalizes communities, supports economic development, and contributes to the vitality of New York City. It is my honor to lead the agency in its successful efforts to realize these important public policy and quality of life goals. To date, the Commission has designated and regulates almost 38,000 buildings and sites throughout the 5 boroughs. As chair, one of my primary goals is to incorporate equity and diversity in all aspects of the agency's work, particularly to ensure diversity and inclusion in our designations and fairness, transparency, and efficiency in our regulations so that all property owners have equal access to resources, technical assistance, and expertise. Since I last testified on our agency's budget, LPC has been focused on several key initiatives: designating buildings and districts that reflect the city's diversity and tell the story of all New Yorkers, transforming the permit process to make it more accessible, and developing programs to support small businesses and educate property owners about permit processes and grant opportunities. Importantly, we are also working with other agencies to advance Mayor Adams' Get Stuff Built plan and have identified steps to improve efficiency and transparency in our permitting process. I will begin my testimony today by giving a brief overview of LPC's budget and how resources are allocated. LPC's preliminary budget for fiscal year 2025 is $7.4 million, which consists of $6.6 million in city funds and $874,000 in federal community development block grant funds. LPC is fundamentally an agency of professionals. Almost 90% of the preliminary budget is allocated to personnel services, and 10% is allocated to other than personnel services. Our budget supports the agency's 5 departments that include the Research Department, responsible for evaluating and advancing properties for designation, the Preservation Department, which reviews the permit applications for work on designated properties, the Enforcement Department, which investigates complaints of potential violations and helps owners correct noncompliances, and the Archaeology and Environmental Review Departments, which assist city, state, and federal agencies in their environmental review process. The agency's total headcount in the fiscal year 2025 preliminary budget is 74 full-time staff and 6 part-time staff. Of the CDBG funding, about 82% is allocated to personnel supporting critical community development-related functions such as surveys, environmental review, archaeology, community outreach, and education, while about 18%, or approximately $122,900, is allocated for our Historic Preservation Grant Program for low-income homeowners and not-for-profit organizations. I will now discuss the work of the Commission that these resources support. For research and designations, LPC's equity framework guides our priorities, and the agency has focused on places that represent New York City's diversity and in areas less represented by landmarks. In the first half of fiscal year 2024, LPC designated the Joseph Rodman Drake Park an enslaved people's burial ground in Hunts Point, the Bronx, which raises public awareness about the practice of slavery in colonial New York, honors the legacy of the enslaved people who were central to the area's history, and ensures the burial ground is preserved and protected. Also, in the first half of fiscal year 24, LPC designated the Barkin Levin and Company Office Pavilion in Long Island City, Queens, an area with few designated buildings, and the New York Public Library Tremont branch in Tremont, the Bronx, which recognizes the library's central role serving generations of immigrants through innovative community programming and multilingual education. We also anticipate the Commission to vote soon on a proposed designation of the Old Croton Aqueduct Walk as a scenic landmark in University Heights. And this week, the Commission voted to calendar the Frederick Douglass Memorial Park in Staten Island, which is New York City's only African American cemetery and was established at a time in which members of the African American community were excluded from the city's burial grounds. I will now turn to our preservation and permitting operations. I believe it is imperative to support property owners of designated landmark buildings. The key to success in preservation is effective regulation, which requires an efficient, transparent, and accessible process for applicants. Buildings are living, thriving contributors to the dynamism of New York City. Our job is not to prevent change, but to manage it so that we can ensure these significant buildings and sites are protected and allowed to remain a vital part of New York City's continued growth. Our Preservation Department is the regulatory arm of the Commission, and it is the largest department within the agency. Our staff are professionally trained preservationists who work with property and business owners to help them obtain approval for the work that meets their needs and is sensitive to the historic building and context. Each year, approximately 94 to 97% of permits are issued by the staff pursuant to the Commission's rules. The remaining 3 to 6% of the applications are reviewed by the full commission. LPC staff works closely with property owners, including meetings and other communications, to ensure they understand the criteria and the review process and to help them put together a complete application and presentation. In fiscal year 23, the Commission received 12,211 permit applications and took action on 11,489 applications, ranging from restoration and repairs to windows and storefronts to additions and new buildings. Through February of this fiscal year, we have received about 7,353 applications and are roughly on track to match the fiscal year 23 total. LPC has worked with OTI to advance a major technology upgrade, an e-filing portal that we just launched this month, streamlining our permit process and improving customer experience. Applicants and property owners are now able to upload supporting documentation, view the status of applications at every step in the process, and receive their final permits directly through the portal. Our staff are currently conducting training sessions on how to use the new system for our diverse constituency, ranging from homeowners to seasoned professionals. Our Preservation Department continues to develop and maintain resources to help applicants and owners put together complete applications and process permits quickly. In the summer of 2023, the Commission voted to approve new rules to make the LPC application and review process faster and easier for business owners and homeowners seeking approval for specific types of work, including building updates that would improve the climate resiliency and sustainability of landmarked properties. These changes allow LPC to support adoption of climate resiliency and sustainability measures for landmark buildings and better serve New Yorkers through a more efficient process, empowering them to focus on the success of their small businesses and maintaining their homes, and in turn increasing employment opportunities and housing stability for the city's diverse workforce. And I want to take a moment to talk about our at-risk building initiative. While the risk of demolition or deconstruction of designated buildings is very low, LPC and DOB have enacted our Vulnerable Buildings Action Plan to strengthen enforcement tools that preserve the city's most vulnerable historic buildings. Intended to protect designated buildings that are at risk due to hidden pre-existing conditions, owner neglect, and contractor negligence. The plan has guided our agency in preserving numerous at-risk buildings through a focus on earlier detection of risks to designated buildings, more robust engineering oversight, increased coordination between the agencies, and comprehensive community outreach employing new digital tools and stakeholder outreach. Thus far, we have referred, or in the process of referring, about 20 buildings to the Department of Buildings for enhanced engineering. We have reviewed dozens of buildings based on the new data we are receiving from DOB. And I will now share some further details about the outreach and education work LPC conducts. Outreach and education are also essential to our success. My goal is to make information accessible to everyone, and in a city as diverse as New York, we need to make sure that we are as effectively communicating with property owners across the city, especially since a substantial number of owners directly file for permits with LPC. Since my tenure began, we have increased community outreach efforts and now place special emphasis on reaching out to communities across all 5 boroughs that have not traditionally been well represented by LPC. We have also published new educational materials to improve access to important information. And this is important for our regulatory work and generates support for designations. With the recent launch of our e-filing portal, Portico, we are enacting a plan for robust community outreach to ensure that property owners in historic districts across all 5 boroughs know how to use the system. Turning to our community development block grant funding, And before I conclude, I want to return to the Historic Preservation Grant Program, a modest, federally funded program targeted for low and moderate income homeowners and not-for-profit organizations to help restore or repair the facades of their landmark buildings. In fiscal year '23, the program awarded 5 grants to homeowners and 1 grant to a not-for-profit institution, excuse me, ranging from $25,000 to $35,000. The homes are in Adderley Park, Queens, Greenpoint, Brooklyn, Oneida Street in the Bronx, and Central Harlem. The institution is the not-for-profit institution is the New Amsterdam Music Association, located in Central Harlem. And in fiscal year 24 thus far, LPC voted to award 5 homeowner grants and 1 nonprofit grant for the Greenpoint Reformed Church. In summary, we are excited for the future of preservation in New York City and thank the administration and the City Council for your continued support and the resources provided in this budget. We are a small agency, and nearly the entirety of our budget is personnel-based. This is a hard-working, dedicated, and professional staff with an outsized impact on our city, responsible for the protection and the preservation of its most significant buildings, districts, and sites. Our commitment is that we will continue to do so with the resources provided and strive to do so equitably, efficiently, and transparently. Thank you again for allowing me to testify, and I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
Thank you, Chair, for your testimony. And before I begin with my questioning, I just want to thank you and your staff for working with my, hand in hand with my office this last year and a half. We landmarked Oneida Street, which was something extremely popular in the Hunts Point community, and my constituents and the homeowners were very thankful and grateful. And I want to thank you also, your team, for helping and getting the Joseph Rodman Drake Park and Enslaved People's Burial Ground landmarked. Prior to being a council member, I was a district manager. And I remember back in 2010, I was working with then State Senator Jeff Klein, trying to landmark it federally. But there was a struggle there. But I'm happy that the City of New York got it done. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
All right. So going to our line of questioning, I just have a few questions, and then I'll pass it over to Chair Hanks. In terms of staffing, at the end of February, there were 73 active staff at LPC and just 1 vacancy. LPC's current budget headcount of 74 is 3 positions lower than it has been in recent years. Do you feel that you have the appropriate number of staff?
We do, and that I will note that 1 vacancy in February has now been filled, so we are fully staffed now. We did lose 3 positions in an earlier PEG, but that did not impact our staff at the time because they were based on vacancies. They were vacancies that we had not filled, and so it didn't impact the staff that were working for us, and it didn't impact our mission or our ability to fulfill our mandate. So we're fully staffed now. We're excited about that, and anticipate being able to meet all of our strategic goals.
Were those 3 positions that were pegged, were they returned back, or they're still offline, I would say?
They're still offline at this time.
All right.
We continue to talk to OMB about our needs, and we'll continue to have those conversations.
What type of positions were those?
There were 2 landmarks preservationist titles and one community coordinator.
Yeah, I would think that having enough community coordinators is important.
Yeah.
So I want to work with you on getting you those 3 slots open again so that you can hire.
Thank you.
LPC appears to have regained the headcounts lost during the COVID-19 pandemic. What has contributed to staff recruitment and retention?
Well, I think that one thing I can say is that we are a small staff and a very committed and dedicated staff. I'm amazed every day at how talented and how dedicated our staff is, and I think that they truly believe in the mission. Everyone does, and I think there is something rewarding in that, in doing something that you believe in and that you feel you're making a difference in the city. And so I think there's great support behind the mission, and In addition to that, we work very hard to provide a very inclusive and collegial work environment, and we do that through trying to provide opportunities for professional development, training. We provide space and opportunity for employee resource groups where staff, employee-led groups where staff can gather together to discuss issues, and we also provide opportunities to attend conferences when possible. So I think we do try to provide opportunities for staff to engage with each other and to professionally grow.
All right, thank you. Just want to recognize that we've been joined by Councilmember Abreu and Councilmember Joseph. And going back to staffing, does staff at LPC have flexible time schedules or, hybrid schedules?
The staff, yes, all of the staff have the opportunity to work in hybrid if they follow the guidelines outlined by the city. And so they must submit a form outlining their commitment and their hours and their place of location when they're not working in the office. And so we do have that ability to offer that to staff.
What percentage of your staff are working in the office compared to working from home?
I would say, well, everybody works in the office a minimum of 3 days a week, and they have the ability to work remotely 2 days a week, and that is the majority of the staff. There's a limited number of staff who need to be present because they're public-facing every day, and there aren't multiple people in that department.
How many staff oversee LPC's $215.9 million in contracts? And how do you ensure fair pricing for preservation maintenance work?
So the 215 in contracts, I think
We don't really have
yeah.
we don't really have that kind of bandwidth, for our budget.
Right. So
Sorry, they gave me so
Okay.
it's 215,000. In terms of, so how many staff oversee the $215,000 in contracts, and how do staff ensure fair pricing for preservation maintenance work?
So in our budget and administration departments, I think that's the question, we have Akeem Bashiro, who is our Director of Financial Management. We also have a Director of Administration and a Director of Operations and management, facility management. And under the Director of Financial Management, we have the Procurement Officer and the Timekeeper. And we strive hard to ensure fair practices in all of our efforts in our procurement process.
All right. Going to the federal grants, the federal funding for the restoration project. So I know that LPC administers federally funded historic preservation grant program that provides financial assistance to low to moderate income landmark property owners to help fund restoration work on their designated properties. Now, this is something that I've asked for the past couple of years in terms of how that funding is used and who has access to that funding. So what's the total amount of this grant in fiscal 2025?
So the total amount of money that we have in CDBG money is for 25 is $668,874, and what that does is that.
Sorry, can you just repeat that number?
668,874.
Okay.
And that funds 5 employees who are really critical to our survey and outreach work and our archaeology work. And it also, $122,900 of that is allocated to the Historic Preservation Grant Program. And we, as you know, award grants to income-eligible property owners and not-for-profits that range from $25,000 to $35,000 each. And they fund repairs and restoration work and maintenance for properties.
Of that 668,874, you have 5 employees that you're paying salaries for, correct? You deduct the salary. What's the total amount that's left over for the
It's
grant?
the 122,900, and that is for the grant program. And so, and we accept applications on a rolling basis, but we do try to award as many grants as possible when we have applicants that meet the income eligibility requirements that are set up by HUD.
In terms of the funding that you receive every year, the fiscal year 2025, is funding flat from previous years in terms of that grant money, or has that grant money changed?
So
The dollar amount.
the dollar amount stays the same, and there are some properties where we award grants, the money is earmarked in one particular fiscal year, but because the work hasn't been completed in that fiscal year, that may get rolled over into the next fiscal year. So that may account for a change, if you see a change in the number.
Funding that's not used in one fiscal year, is it
It's rolled over
is it
until
rolled
the next
over?
fiscal year. Yeah, so once it's committed, it's earmarked, it stays with that property, and it will roll into the next fiscal year if the.
what
work
about
isn't
unused funding?
Sorry, what about?
What unused funding?
Unused funding.
I don't.
Yeah, we really don't have unused funding. We are able to award all of the money that we
The
have
entire
available to
122?
us. Yeah, and we try to divide it among as many property owners as we can and nonprofits.
How many non-for-profits and homeowners were awarded in fiscal 22 and 23?
So fiscal '23, I believe, was 5 property owners, 5 grants to homeowners, and 1 grant for a nonprofit, which was the New Amsterdam Music Association in Central Harlem.
Okay. And what about 24?
24, so far, we've awarded 5 homeowner grants and 1 not-for-profit, which is for the Greenpoint Reformed Church.
What is the income requirement for both a homeowner compared to a not-for-profit?
So there is no income limit for a nonprofit. The requirement is that they own their property and that they are a 501c3. For homeowners, there are different categories. There's extremely low income, and moderate income. And just to sort of give you an example, for a 4-person household in the moderate income category, the minimum must be 70. Well, I think it's 70,000 is the maximum for low income in a 4-person household, and it's 113,000 is the maximum amount for a 4-person household in a moderate income situation. And then also for moderate income households, if there is an opportunity to provide a matching grant, we can, the income cap is raised to 141,000, I believe, right? 141,000.
Who sets the income
The
requirement?
federal government.
And what agency is that?
That's HUD.
HUD. Now, HUD is also responsible for our AMIs, area median income, when we are negotiating and discussing housing. Do they use the same formula for the area median income, or they're just using another formula?
That I couldn't answer. We'd have to defer to OMB, I think, to understand that.
And the reason is because I know that HUD, the frustration that we have with AMI is that we feel that the average median income in New York City, the way they calculate it, they use the outside counties and they mix it all in, including Westchester County. And so I think that at this moment, our AMI for the city of New York is somewhere in the 90,000s, right? And I'm just curious if HUD is using that number for affordable housing. We would love to see them use that same number so that homeowners, you have a bigger avenue of homeowners that can have access to that grant money. Has LPC ever lobbied or sent a letter or a request to HUD asking that they review the income requirements and increase them?
I think the Landmarks Commission hasn't separately. I mean, we have worked with OMB, and OMB has obviously communicates with HUD on these matters.
But I don't think that's an OMB priority. So LPC has never
No.
really requested an increase or that HUD review.
Right. I think
income.
it's a challenging thing, and we do wish it was higher. We wish we had more candidates also, but luckily we are able to target candidates who are eligible and we are able to award the money, and we are prioritizing the low and moderate income, which is important to us. But I think that the eligibility requirements really affect kind of policy and funding on a federal, national level, and I think it's challenging for the Landmarks Commission to be able to affect change there.
I think that it's, and I would, after this line of questioning, I'm going to go over to Chair Hanks. But Chair Hanks, I think that this is a conversation when you have further hearings on, asking LPC to reach out to HUD and make a formal request increasing the income eligibility. See, my concerns. Thank you, Madam Chair. My concerns here is that I have historic districts as well. For example, the Lone Historic District. Townhouses, they're beautiful, but these are working families. But because they're working families, does not mean that they have the funds necessary to make repairs, and they cannot access that avenue of grants that's being provided. And I think that it's unfair to them that they cannot access that funding.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that, I'm going to hand it over to Chair Hanks for her line of questioning.
Thank you so much, Chair Salamanca, and that was part of also my line of questioning. But firstly, I just want to thank you for your testimony, and this is, being from Staten Island, it's very, very important that we have our historic preservation. It's no secret that that I'm a builder. I love to build, and we have to find that happy medium. And so I'm very happy that we're able to ask these questions to you today. So I'm actually going to jump into to follow up to give you an opportunity to kind of explain what the federal role is and what the LPC's role is in setting those limits. So can you explain to the public how the limits are set, and just so everyone understands, this is the grant process in which we grant homeowners funding to complete some of the repairs on their historic buildings. So I'll have you explain a little bit about who sets the limits and how that goes, just for clarity.
Again, HUD sets that limits, and it is, I imagine, based on sort of a national standard that they have applied. I really can't speak any more to how they are set or how they're determined because we have no role in that. But we certainly do support increasing opportunities for our designated building owners to take advantage of any financial benefits that are available to them. And so we do work really hard to try to bring awareness about our grant program, and we actually have partnered with Chair Salamanca to do outreach in your district to make that information available to people. And we can talk about our grant program and opportunities there, but we also can make people aware of other financial benefits or opportunities through the nonprofit, the New York Landmarks Conservancy, which has a historic properties fund and a sacred sites fund, which provides funding for homeowners and houses of worship, and also homeowners in many of in certain census tracts are eligible for a state homeowners tax credit for restoration and repair work, and so we work hard to make sure that our property owners that are in those census tracts are aware of that opportunity as well. So we agree that we are. It's important to help property owners with the buildings that are, maintaining their homes, which are designated buildings, and always looking for ways to increase those opportunities.
Thank you so much. For the purpose of the committee and for the public, can you just give an example of what the income limits are for a family of 4?
Right, so for a family of 4 in the low-income category, the maximum household income is $70,000, $70,559. And then for the moderate income category, a household of 4, the maximum income is $113,000. But again, if they are able to do a 20% matching grant, the income cap becomes $141,000. And so we do try to help our grant awardees leverage the grants that we are able to award them to find other loans or grants that they can use as a match.
Thank you so much. Is there a repository of information, so like a one-sheet fact sheet, so public is not going to a myriad of places to find out what it means? Because I'm really big on information and outreach.
Yes, we do. We have a fact sheet on sort of the financial incentives or benefits of designation, and we can certainly provide you with that.
I would love that. Thank you so much. So in this same line of questioning for federal funding for restoration projects, can you tell us a little bit more of how non-for-profits partner with homeowners in these restoration?
I'm sorry. How?
Can you tell us more about how or if nonprofits sometimes partner with homeowners in these restoration projects?
Okay.
I apologize if it wasn't clear.
So I think, when as I was saying, when we award grants, often we will partner and share information about the New York Landmarks Conservancy, which is a nonprofit that also provides funding. And so we will often try to make those connections and work together to be able to provide more funding. And in either case, whether it's a grant that we're awarding or a grant that a low interest loan that the nonprofit is awarding, what comes with that is, of course, the staff's expertise and also the staff's project management. So they file for all the necessary permits. They are putting out the projects out to bid. They are working with the contractors and overseeing the work and sort of managing the project from beginning to end. And so that comes with the funding.
Oh, thank you. In Staten Island, we have a major development on a site where there are about 4 or 5 historic buildings. So my question is there space or an appetite for public-private partnerships with development when it comes to restoration
I
of?
think we're always open to opportunities. I'd be happy to talk to you further
Thank
about
you so
that.
much. What are the key projects LPC has completed so far under this grant?
So some of the recent grants that we approved, and let me find, actually 2 were on Monida Street in Chair Salamanca's district. And let me get to some of the others. We have also awarded 3 grants in Staten Island as well. One to a homeowner in the St. Paul's Stapleton Heights Historic District, one to a homeowner in the St. George Historic District, and one nonprofit. Let me just get to it. So the nonprofit was, Casa Belvedere, right. So 3 in Staten Island. Of course, the 2 that we recently awarded on Monida Street. And then in Councilmember Abreo's district, we did also award a homeowner grant for a home on 152nd Street. And of course, our 2 recent not-for-profits were the New Amsterdam Music Association, the Bushwick Reformed Church, and the Greenpoint Reformed Church.
Thank you so much. So I'd like to return a little bit, with the landmarking designations and equity. So this is central to the LPC's responsibilities and ensuring that it's relevant to the city. And that what I mean by that is the equitable component. So what plans and/or outreach do you have this year to continue to work of recognizing designated sites related to underrepresented groups such as LGBTQ people and women? And what would that plan entail?
Right. So the way that all of our work is really commission-led and commission-initiated, but we also do hear from different communities with requests to evaluate or requests to designate. And so those community dialogues are very important to guiding our work as well. And our research department surveys thousands of properties every year to maintain our survey inventory. And they do many thematic studies. And so they will do studies related to LGBTQ history. They will do studies related to African American history or Latino history. We just recently designated the Bronx Opera House with incredible cultural significance related to the Latino, Latinx music scene. So we do thematic studies, and we also have been prioritizing large surveys in areas that have been less well represented, such as we did a comprehensive survey of the Bronx, and we've been working on a large survey in Queens as well. And then once we have identified areas that we find merit and are areas that we'd like to pursue, we then begin outreach. And especially in areas where there is less representation by landmarks, there's less familiarity. So some of that outreach takes much longer, but we are committed to reaching out to those neighborhoods and talking to them about the importance of the history of the neighborhood or district or building and what the benefits and responsibilities are in order to raise awareness and garner attention. Right.
Thank you so much. So what type of work is underway to continue the work of recognizing African American and Black cultural significance, such as the African burial grounds, and through these designations and landmarks?
Yeah, it's ongoing. We are, as I said, our staff is constantly, that's what they do most of the time, is do this survey work, and we've designated important sites that represent African American history over the last couple of years that I'm very proud of. And then, as we mentioned, we just last week calendared for consideration the Frederick Douglass Memorial Park, which was
Very exciting.
incredibly exciting moment, but also we've worked closely with the Board of Trustees there, and they're just incredible stewards of the cemetery and the history. So it's been very exciting. So that work is ongoing. Oh, and we are also, well, this is breaking news. we in addition to the designation work that we do, we are also trying to make these stories more accessible to the public. And so we have created a number of tools that take these sort of themes and highlight designations that tell these stories. And so we have a really fabulous digital tool that speaks to significant places of African American history, and I totally recommend going to our website and looking at it. It's a multimedia sort of history of and layout of all of the sites across the city related to that history. We have another one called The Path, New York City and Its Path to Freedom, which highlights sites that are important in terms of the story of abolition. And the sort of breaking news is that we have been working with Black Gotham Experience on a new immersive experience to understand the story of abolition through a trail of the landmarks in downtown Brooklyn. So I'm really excited about that being launched in the coming weeks, I think.
That is fantastic news. Thank you for sharing, breaking the news with us. So my last question is, before I pass it back to Chair Salamanca, really kind of goes back to at-risk buildings. And I only had one small question. Does the LPC have at-risk buildings that are owned by the city?
There are some buildings that we are monitoring that are owned by the city. So we do, we designate buildings owned by the city, and we designate buildings owned by private property owners. And while the processes can be slightly different, ultimately we review the same kinds of work, and we also monitor buildings that are that are in need of maintenance. And so, yes, we work closely with sister agencies who are responsible for buildings that need to be sealed or maintained.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your answers today. I'll give it back to Chair Salamanca. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Hanks. I want to recognize that we've been joined by Council Members Rivera, Sanchez, Hudson, and Marte. I will now hand it over to Councilmember Rivera for some questions.
Hello.
Hello, nice to see you
Nice to
all.
see you.
Sorry about the angle. But I'm very happy that you're here, and I want to thank you for your testimony and all your work, realizing how big your budget is. Just a few questions. What mechanisms are in place to protect landmarks during construction? So if there's maybe a building going up directly beside a landmark building, and are those mechanisms or programs fully funded and staffed?
They are fully funded and staffed, and I can walk you through them as you know. We last year we launched a Vulnerable Buildings Action Plan just for this purpose, and while we did coordinate well with the Department of Buildings on structural issues in the past, we did really sort of dig down to try to understand what underlying causes for risk that put buildings at risk were. And we met with a roundtable of engineers, we met with community and advocacy groups, we met with big cities across the country. We're part of a network of other preservation municipal agencies. And we looked at issues that we had recently seen, and we really identified sort of three major causes. One is previously unknown hidden conditions behind walls that were structural structural issues may not have been evident. We also found that owner negligence or neglect it was another cause, and contractor error or work in violation was another cause. And so we developed a plan to try to ensure that we are protecting our oldest and most delicate buildings. And that plan really was focused on addressing those three causes with three sort of major pillars. One was earlier detection, which is really important. That was a key because when a building is neglected, it can take a long time even to work through the court system if you're initiating a lawsuit. So early detection was important, and we are coordinating much more with the Department of Buildings on sharing data to be able to flag buildings earlier before they're in a state where they're at risk. We also increased oversight, engineering oversight of proposed work and ongoing work, working with our own consulting engineer and the Department of Buildings Forensic Engineering Unit. And the third pillar was working closely with communities, providing them more tools and access to our information and communicating with them on a regular basis. They're our eyes and ears on the ground, so they're very important to us. But in terms of
you have 20 buildings in the program, it says in your testimony?
20 buildings that we have that are getting this enhanced engineering. So back to the second pillar, which is the enhanced engineering and oversight. The way that now works is that any work that is on a building or in a building that may have the potential, and our staff has been trained to identify this now, for to have a structural impact, we are requiring enhanced submissions from the applicants, and also enhanced review by our consultant and or by the Department of Buildings Forensic Engineering Unit. And so the 20, right now there are 20 sites that we've referred to DOB for them to do the enhanced engineering. And that also includes new construction next to historic buildings. And then, of course, in your district, we recently had a proposal for adjacent to the Merchants House where we did require 10 independent measures to ensure the stability, the structural stability of the building as well as the stability of the interior plaster.
Yeah, that was it. That was important to us, and it remains a priority. The Merchants House. I was going to bring that up if you did not. So please take care of it. It is for those who don't know, it's landmarked inside and outside. It's a lovely building on 4th Street. You also mentioned you do these large surveys of places that have been underrepresented, and I think that's great. I know that there has been a lot of discussion that maybe the outer boroughs didn't receive as much attention, I guess, from LPC. And I see here you have the Bronx and Queens and Brooklyn in terms of some research and designation. How do you prioritize proposals? Is it the size? Is it the scope? Is it just I don't know how popular it is, how much history, and does the size and scope of resources ever become a factor in how you prioritize designations? And I only ask because when you come back to Manhattan, I'd really love for you to look at Union Square South again, please. New York Eye and Ear Infirmary and 50 West 13th Street. But I'll be sure to follow up with you outside of that. So how do you prioritize these proposals? And does size, scope, and how many resources go into those proposals ever factor in how you prioritize?
So
Thank you for the questions, Mr. and Madam Chair.
Thank you. We consider, as I said, we have a vast inventory of sites that we have surveyed, and we prioritize designations based on merit first, but also many other factors, including significance, architectural, cultural, and historical significance, how it compares to other sites that are designated with similar significance, where we have gaps in designations that tell a specific story. So we look to see if it aligns with our priority of ensuring equitable representation, both to geographic and cultural communities, and across all 5 boroughs. So there are many factors that we consider. We work closely, of course, with the council members in each district, and so I'm happy to continue to talk to you about those sites.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Councilman Rivera. I just want to recognize that we've been joined by Councilmember Borelli. A few questions, Chair, regarding the work permit applications. There were 3,873 work permit applications during the first 4 months of 2024, down 8.5% from the same period in fiscal year 2023. LPC hit its target by issuing expedited certificates of no effect, but narrowly missed its target for certificates of no effect. What factors do you believe led to the 8.5% decrease in the number of work permit applications during the first 4 months of fiscal year 2024?
Yeah, they are. We narrowly missed those targets, and that is somewhat consistent. We've seen that in the previous fiscal years as well. And what I would say is that I think one major reason for that is that there are outliers that bring those percentages down, and really the average number of certificates of no effect that are approved and issued within 10 days is the average number of days of a certificate of no effect being approved is 6 days, and the average number of days for a permit for minor work to be issued is 6.3 days. So we do really strive hard to meet those targets, but I think there are on occasion some outliers that are just more complicated, and that has probably caused the narrow miss of that target.
In light of the revenue-raising PEG from the November plan, can you share how much revenue LPC expects to generate from permits issued to building owners in fiscal year 25 versus fiscal year 24?
Right. So in fiscal year 25, our revenue target is $6.9 million. And that is also our revenue target at this point, $6.9 million at this point in fiscal year 2024. So far, we have generated $5.5 million, which is 80% of our target. So we do expect to meet our target of $6.9 million.
How much are typically the LPC permits?
So our fee structure is set up to be relatively modest because we do recognize that the property owners of the designated buildings are a very small subset in the larger city, and with only 38,000 buildings under our jurisdiction. So, we are mindful of sort of the equity issues around that. So we do have a modest fee schedule, which is it's $95 for the first $25,000 of work, and then $5 for every $1,000 of work after that. It's sort of based on the DOB schedule, and it's administered through DOB. We have found that we are nearly self-sustaining, and so that does seem to be the right balance of sort of equity for those property owners and sufficiently maintaining our budget.
How does LPC navigate interactions with owners who do not want their buildings to be landmarked?
So this is a really important part of our work, and we spend considerable time doing outreach to property owners. Sometimes we hear from property owners that they're very supportive, and that's always the best outcome. Sometimes people have concerns and questions, and those are completely valid questions and concerns. And so we work really hard to talk to them, to answer all of those questions, address those concerns. Because if a building is, and I should say, under the Landmarks Law, the Landmarks Law does not require owner consent in order to designate a property, but it is really important to us to try to have some support, particularly in larger historic districts. And it's really important that owners are informed and understand the process and what's happening, because if the building or district is designated, we have a relationship in perpetuity. So it's really important to us that we start that relationship out on the right foot, and that especially that everybody is informed as we move through the process. So we spend a considerable amount of time and effort on those outreach efforts.
Thank you. I'm going to hand it over to Councilmember Joseph for questioning.
Thank you, Chairs. Good morning. How are you?
Morning.
In 2019, we found the African burial ground on Church and Bedford Avenue. We wanted to find out we're in the middle of doing community engagement right now, so we wanted to know whatever the community decide on how to memorialize the space. Do we apply for designation before or after? That was one of the biggest questions.
So one thing that I would say is that these are really important sites, and sometimes they're evident and sometimes they're not. They're under paved streets or under new buildings. But they're very, very important. And so we work really, very diligently with communities to help them recognize those sites. And if there is evidence that is something that the LPC can regulate, designation may be a good option. But if not, one thing I want to point out is that our archaeologist is available to oversee and assist any testing, excavation, or work that might impact below-ground resources in the city. And we have assisted communities and other elected officials who've worked together to try to find other ways to memorialize sites where designation may not be an option at the time. So
Yeah, because there
it's
was
important.
2 schools built on that site. There was a public school and then there was a yeshiva, but a couple of years ago they were demolished. So we don't know what the remains are. We were looking to do probably a radar sonic, one that's not invasive to
Right.
in disturbing what may still remains under there.
And we're happy to provide guidance on that.
That would be
We-
very
I
helpful.
mean, we can't go onto somebody's property and do the work, but we can
It's
certainly
city-owned.
guide. Oh, it's city-owned?
Oh yeah, city owned, it's in my district,
Okay.
under my stewardship, yes.
Okay. but we can certainly provide some guidance on that.
I would love that. Thank you so much, chairs.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Joseph. Want to recognize that we've also been joined by Minority Leader, Councilmember Borelli. Want to now hand it off to Councilmember Marte for questions.
Hey, thank you for being here. It's good to see you.
Good to see you.
With 35,000 landmarks building, I feel like your staff is really short-staffed when it comes to enforcement officer. I think you're around 3 or 4 enforcement officer. What would be the target goal for you guys to feel comfortable that you can manage the amount of landmarks throughout the city with this sufficient amount of officers on
Right.
staff?
So, first, I would say we actually did just increase
Yeah,
our
by
enforcement
2.
department by 2. So we actually have 6 people who are working in the enforcement division. And it is a complaint-driven process, so we evaluate every complaint that comes in. And, just to give you a sense of sort of proportion, in terms of the applications we get for work, for permits, we get about 13,000 applications a year for people applying for permits. In terms of complaints, we get between sort of 200 and 400 complaints a year. So the complaints, hopefully that's a sign that people are actually doing work legally and with permits. And the complaints are a much smaller number. So with the 6 people on staff, we are able to investigate every complaint and in a timely manner.
Great. I was wondering, is there a tracker for, we talked about eligible buildings and buildings that have been landmarked and their status when it comes to demolition. Do we have a tracker for buildings that should be eligible for landmarks under your criteria that are being in the process of being demolished or are threatened by potential demolition?
We don't have a tracker for that, but as I said, we do consider many factors. Threat would be one of those factors we'd consider as we look at what sites to prioritize in our inventory.
Great. And just to piggyback off of Councilmember Rara's comment, we're excited that you guys might look at Lori's side again. So happy and looking forward to that conversation.
Looking forward to meeting you to talk about that.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you, Councilmember Marte. Are there any other members who have any questions? I'll hand it over to Councilmember Borelli.
Thank you. This is very awkward for me too, sitting in the front. I just wanted to ask about procedures to remove landmarking designation. Is that possible, and has it ever happened?
So, when we, as you know, when we designate a building or a district, we go through our process to designate it, and then there is a post-designation process where the designation goes to the City Planning Commission for an advisory review to understand how it may relate to planning goals. And then ultimately it goes to the City Council. So at the City Council can uphold or affirm the designation. They can rescind the designation, or in the case of a historic district, they can modify the boundaries to make them smaller. So the City Council certainly has a role shortly after designation, and after that, I think we have not had any applications to.
But there is an
get to that,
application
but-
process for removing a designation?
There is no application process for removing that, but we have, as part of the landmarks law, there is a hardship provision, which is sort of a safety valve when designation may cause an undue hardship or burden to a property owner. And so that's a really important part of the landmarks law, and it strengthens the landmarks law, and it does require robust analysis, and including an economic analysis. They're very rare. We've had less than 20 in our 60 years of existence. And so they really don't happen that often. But we do take them very seriously. And other than that, we might. What do you want to? Oh, in the case of in the case of a fire or sort of a catastrophic event that results in the demolition or the collapse of a building, we have, in those cases, de-designated the site. And a de-designation process is the same as a designation process. We initiate it, and ultimately it would come to the city council.
I guess I'm asking this because we're faced with a situation in the city where we don't seem to be able to build housing. Some of these land markings, as you know, because you hear public testimony, you hear, you can get a sense of reading between the lines when you speak to people that some of these land markings over the years were done not just to preserve a particular house, but also to prevent development on a site. So, is it something that's in your wheelhouse or an idea to ever just reevaluate some of the sites that have been landmarked to see if there's something worth landmarking there still to keep the designation? Now, I'll give you an example. In Staten Island, in Princess Bay, there's a house, and now, I mean, granted, this is one of the oldest houses in the city of New York. I think it's called a Mini House. But it was purchased by a developer, legally, above the board, was going to knock it down, put up some houses or whatever he was going to put up, and people said, we don't want houses here. As the only historian, maybe I cared about the house. Not many people cared about the house. Now the house is dilapidated, and it's just a pile of rubble.
Yeah.
What is the point of maintaining a house like that? And I'm using this as a hypothetical. I think it's an interesting history, but there are other houses where the history is not significant, where they're just piles of dilapidated rubble, and we could be doing something innovative with that property.
Right. So, just with that specific property, that was a situation where the building was being neglected, and we initiated a lawsuit and prevailed. And unfortunately, it is still in a sealed but neglected state. And we have approved, actually, we did approve new housing on that site in front of the Landmark Building, which included restoration of the Landmark Building. That project didn't go forward, but we certainly look for opportunities where we can incorporate new housing in historic districts or on landmark sites. And we understand that housing is...
But to be clear, it didn't go forward because the developer bought the property legally, was unaware that this was going to be a landmark property, had some financial rubric that indicated he could knock the building down, build a certain number of townhouses or whatever, and the landmarking was the catalyst of why this did not happen, the housing.
No, it's a very early designation. This owner bought the building after it was designated. So I think that...
Okay, is it a different owner than the guy? Oh.
Maybe different facts, or maybe they somehow weren't aware. But it's it's, as you said, an important site and very early designation. But, and we did approve housing, and I think we do recognize that there's a critical need for housing in the city, and we think that there is a way to find a balance between preserving really important places and allowing for development to happen. We support housing, additional housing, especially affordable housing in our historic districts. We are in support of the City of Yes Housing for Opportunity Plan, and we have worked very hard in historic districts and on sites of individual landmarks to allow for significant housing. So, for example, actually on the Lower East Side recently, for St. Augustine's Church, we approved a tower on the back of their lot, which will be a large residential tower. Similarly, we partnered with a church in the Bronx as well, St. James's Episcopal Church, to do an affordable housing project on their property, which was also a large building. And in our historic districts, we work really hard to ensure that we're allowing for that flexibility and growth in historic districts, and we'll always be looking at our policies to find more ways to allow for growth in historic districts. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Borelli. With that, Madam Chair, I want to thank you for your
Thank you
testimony
very
and your
much.
questions. And I want to thank your staff as well for being present today. We will take a 5-minute recess, and up next we will have the DCP, the Department of City Planning, up for testimony.
gentlemen.
How you doing?
How are you?
Good to see you.
Good to see you too. What's happening? How you feeling? I'm doing all right. Hanging in. Nice to be back in the 16th floor hearing room.
Nice.
You didn't give us the chambers now, man.
I know.
We don't ever get the chambers.
Unbelievable.
Or let's do it in your building.
Yeah, right. Okay, right. Yeah, we could do it there. Probably could do that.
Yeah.
Paris has them, but just for planning.
I think I saw it on Rouse there.
He said they included one in here. Well, there's only 3 seats. What is the status? Yeah. That's fine. I mean, I just talked to you. You can actually go along with that. I can. But I just texted you.
Yeah.
Basically just which really goes with all this and like why they're different.
Tonight's the big night.
I'm good. You know
You're missing dinner at Angelina's. You know how Staten Island people do. Tell us, no, this is how bad it is for us. They're like, no, that'd be great food. So I think everything is good. I think that, is there, will we have an opportunity to kind of dig into, I just spoke to, there's a lot of us here who have weird issues. What you guys have asked me is like, wow. Yeah, I think, I have no idea. I think it's fine. Because I think the bigger thing is my neighbor, and I don't want to make money. So I think this becomes an interesting question. Couple it, and it's like an exercise down.
I actually just got your email address. I think we know what emailing you and saying.
I think it was the first tell us what.
Generally,
It's
like it's an
I
interesting
don't
balance
particularly
of
believe
like
something that's
super
crazy. And how
I think for me, it's like show up everywhere.
I will be jealous.
You know, I
there are a lot of so kind of they don't care about it,
Teaching, that's what we're trying to do. Their reaction is always let me know where.
and so like I do the ribbon cuts for her, but sometimes I really like what's happening on the other side of the way. So it's like and there's really
Like everybody's screaming, why is Joe so admirable about downtown battery storage when this is not the battery storage?
I think even though they
I know, but I still don't, they're still screaming about that.
like to support people.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll talk. You know, like I probably like some of the big developers, like fighting against them, but they kind of know what they're doing is bad at the end of the day, and they're typically not saying, but they understand that I'm doing it for the good of the business. Thanks for having us in. Honestly, a lot of the white people don't want to develop. He's also gonna fight against this like yeah. So it's like crazy dynamic.
I just
have the wealth
I just had a nice.
but I think probably on average Julie Bennett. I have back in Park City, typically in the top three. But she on average is a little different.
Okay.
I've been meaning to say congratulations.
Thank you.
We won.
Also, I said for 1 and 2 years.
Yeah, yeah, I think I knew that. I did know that. I know I have one, just one, but I won 3, but yeah. I had my last.
Hi, I know we're supposed to meet,
That's fine.
but we just meet when you're running, okay? Sorry, you can't talk about that here. Ah, ha, ha, ha.
You mean this kind of?
Yeah, right, sorry.
Yeah, East River.
This is, jogging.
Yeah, complaint.
I know, I could tell my husband is like, well, 3 is nice. I'm like, oh, interesting. The hot mic?
Sergeant at Arms, let me know when you're ready. All right. Good afternoon. Thank you again to LPC and welcome back to today's preliminary budget hearing, the Committee on Land Use. We will now continue with the Department of City Planning. I want to recognize that we've been joined by Councilwoman Sabina Brooke Powers as well. Now we will continue with the Department of City Planning. I want to recognize we are joined by Chair of Subcommittee on Zoning and Franchises, Chair Kevin Riley, and Chair of the Subcommittee on Landmarks, Public Siting and Dispositions, Councilmember Hanks. The Department of City Planning, or DCP, plans for New York City's overall growth and development. Working with communities and elected officials, it aims to shape and align planning needs to improve our neighborhoods and make them more equitable and resilient. Recent data suggests a critical role for DCP at this moment in our city's history. This week, the Citizens Budget Commission released the results of its 2023 resident survey. The survey showed that New Yorkers generally rate the quality of life and the quality of core city services much worse than they did in 2017. CBC points out that long shadow of the COVID-19 pandemic continues to hover over the cities, including with high office vacancies, low housing affordability, and an increase in low-paying jobs. While the administration's verbal commitment to housing and public safety are welcome, there is a significant gap between how New Yorkers rate the quality of life and city services now versus how they did in 2017 or 2008. A great deal of progress needs to be achieved to return to prior levels of satisfaction. For DCP, this will require at least three key components. First, proper staffing to assess and implement necessary zoning and planning changes. Second, full engagement with communities. And third, capital funding. However, when we review DCP's budget, there is a disconnect between its central role and its limited capacity. DCP has a fiscal 2025 preliminary budget of $44.1 million, about $4.6 million lower than a fiscal 2024 budget adoption. In fiscal 2025's budget includes $32.9 million for personal services to support 353 full-time positions and $11.1 million for other than personnel services. DCP has received 2 rounds of programs to eliminate the gap, or PEGs, so far in fiscal 2024. The PEGs in the November and preliminary plans include both PS and OTPS savings, including an environmental review like Seeker and other studies. While there were no headcount reductions, DCP has struggled to fill its ranks. The department has a relatively high vacancy rate of 13.9% overall and vacancy rates of 30% and 25% respectively in its Queens and Bronx borough offices. These vacancies are much too high and need to come down. The committee seeks to learn much more about what actions DCP has taken in the budget to increase staffing and ensure all 5 boroughs have the appropriate staffing for rezonings. There are currently 5 active neighborhood rezonings, but council members have heard that capacity restrictions limits DCP's ability to expand its scope to other communities. These rezonings are necessary to create new opportunities and achieve the administration's own City of Yes agenda, with its moonshot goal of 500,000 new units of housing over a decade. I will pause here and turn it over to our subcommittee chair, Chair Riley, to share his opening remarks for the department.
Thank you, Chair Salamanca, and welcome once again to DCP's leadership and Director Gorodnik. Thank you for being here today. I would like to pick up the importance of DCP to the City of Yes agenda. Whether for aspiring homeowners or entrepreneurs, DCP is seeking to modify the city's zoning laws to drive change. We have heard a lot from our constituents and our community boards about the scale of the City of Yes proposal, particularly zoning for economic opportunity and zoning for housing opportunity, which are making their way through the city's process now. The feeling of a rushed presentation or misinformation threatens to make moving forward more difficult. Certainly, the high vacancy rates in the borough's office, previously discussed, poses an obstacle to robust engagement. I look forward to hearing more about DCP's outreach and engagement functions and how they are making sure that both neighborhood rezonings and the City of Yes are receiving the support they deserve. In addition, new capital funds are urgently needed. In March 2022, the administration launched its Rebuild, Renew, and Reinvent blueprint for the city's economic recovery, which launched the NYC Strategic for Equity and Economic Development, or SEED Fund. SEED was intended to invest in city dollars into neighborhood-wide capital improvements, forming a new framework. However, we've only heard of 3 SEED investments in 2 years. In some key respects, SEED appeared proposed to replace the previous administration's tool for guiding investments in communities, which was called the Neighborhood Development Fund. We look forward to hearing more about the status and size of the seed fund, next step for both it and the NDF, and which neighborhoods are expected to benefit from upcoming investments. Other topics that the committee hopes to cover this afternoon include how DCP is supporting office conversion and climate change resiliency, proposing homes to city planning commissions, conducting timely land use reviews, planning for fair housing and more manufacturing industrial jobs, and so much more. With that, I look forward to hearing from Director Gorodnick, and we'll pass it back over to Chair Salamanca. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Riley. Before we hear from DCP and the Director, I would like to thank once again the committee staff who helped prepare this hearing in the Finance and Land Use Division, as well as the hardworking staff in my office and my co-chair's office. A reminder that the public will testify after DCP, after we have finished hearing from the administration. If you are here to testify in person, please fill out a witness slip with the Sergeant at Arms so that we can put you in the speakers list. Additionally, if you would like to testify remotely, please note that you must sign up at www.council.nyc.gov/testify. Thank you to DCP in advance for keeping your oral testimony to around 10 minutes. And I will now pass it on to our committee counsel to swear in DCP's leadership before they testify.
The DCP panel will include Chairperson and Director of the Department, Dan Gorodnick, Chief Operating Officer, David Parrish, and Executive Director, Edith Suchen. Panelists, would you please raise your right hands? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony before this committee and in answer to all council member questions?
I do.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair Salamanca, Subcommittee Chairs Hanks and Riley, and distinguished members of the Land Use Committee. As you heard, my name is Dan Gorodnick, and I certainly will keep my remarks to under 10 minutes. I'm joined by City Planning's Executive Director, Edith Suchen, and our Chief Operating Officer, as you heard, David Parrish. Thank you all very much for the opportunity to discuss the Department of City Planning's preliminary budget for fiscal year 2025. Before we discuss the budget, I want to outline the work that City Planning has been doing over the past year to help make our city a more affordable, equitable, and prosperous place to live. Key to our pursuit of these ambitious goals, and I thank you for your reference to them in your introductory remarks, is the City of Yes proposals, 3 city-wide initiatives to reduce our reliance on fossil fuels, to support small businesses, and to tackle our mounting housing crisis. The first of these 3 proposals, as you all know, is City of Yes for carbon neutrality, which the Council adopted in December. Thank you. These changes have made it much easier for New Yorkers to install solar panels, to retrofit aging buildings, or charge their electric vehicles, and we thank you very much for your partnership and for your support. The second is City of Yes for economic opportunity, which began its public review in October and seeks to update decades-old zoning rules to bolster the city's industrial sector, to revitalize commercial corridors, and boost growing industries. Earlier this month, the City Planning Commission approved the proposal by a vote of 11-1 after an extended period of public engagement, over 175 public meetings with community boards in just a few months. Community boards raised some specific concerns during this process, and I want you to know that the Commission made modifications to be responsive to those community board concerns. So I hope you will look at those, and of course we'll have plenty of time to talk about economic opportunity in the coming weeks, as it will be before the City Council. Last but not least, City of Yes for housing opportunity, a plan to tackle our growing housing shortage by building a little more housing in every neighborhood. I know we all recognize the gravity of this crisis. We have seen how rental apartment vacancy rates are at their lowest rate since the 1960s at 1.41%, and the imbalance of power between landlords and tenants in this city. There simply are not enough homes for New Yorkers to live in, and it is driving rents higher and higher. City of Yes for housing opportunity helps alleviate that crunch with a balanced approach that includes allowing more affordable housing in dense, high-cost neighborhoods, allowing modest apartment buildings close to transit, and legalizing backyard cottages to give homeowners extra income to allow them to stay close to family. I applaud Speaker Adams for her recent Daily News op-ed with the mayor that calls for government action at all levels, including here in New York City with City of Yes for housing opportunity. I appreciate Council Members Brannan, Powers, and Botcher for their vocal support of key elements of this plan. And I want to note that City of Yes for housing opportunity is driven by the same fair housing goals that animated the City Council's recently approved Fair Housing Framework. So we look forward to continuing to work closely with all of you as this plan advances to public review. City of Yes isn't the only way we have been advancing our housing and climate goals. In December, we launched Green Fast Track, which is a rulemaking process that will enable a streamlined environmental review process for small and medium-sized housing projects that use all electric heating. The changes would cut up to 2 years and lots of red tape for these projects, getting homes built faster and greener. And just yesterday, the City Planning Commission voted to approve this initiative. Alongside these citywide initiatives, we've been working on neighborhood plans across the boroughs tailored to meet specific community needs. In the East Bronx, we have a plan to complement the new Metro North stations that are coming in 2027 with 7,500 new homes, 10,000 jobs. This plan entered ULURP in January, and I want to thank Chair Salamanca, Chair Riley, Majority Leader Farias, and Councilmember Marmorato for your consistent engagement throughout the process. We really appreciate it and very much enjoy working with you on this project. We've also been active in Queens, launching a neighborhood planning process for Jamaica in May and Long Island City in October. We are coordinating closely with Council Members Natasha Williams and Julie Wan to arrive at strategic long-term visions for these neighborhoods that support housing and economic opportunity and reflect resident needs. And of course, Borough President Donovan Richards, who is always our partner in all of the matters in the Borough of Queens. In October, we also kicked off the Midtown South Mixed-Use Plan, which seeks to foster a vibrant mixed-use neighborhood across 42 Manhattan blocks, where housing is currently not permitted. Earlier this month, we released the draft zoning plan for Midtown South, and we're working diligently toward a formal land use proposal. Our thanks to Council Members Eric Botcher and Keith Powers, as well as Borough President Levine, who have been close partners on this project. With guidance and collaboration from Councilmember Crystal Hudson, progress has continued on the Atlantic Avenue mixed-use plan to bring housing and jobs to Central Brooklyn, and we are looking to begin ULURP later this year. And I also want to mention that we are grateful that the City Council adopted South Richmond zoning relief on Staten Island, which eases burdens for homeowners by simplifying zoning and planning procedures, supports natural preservation, and strengthens community oversight. Thank you, Minority Leader Joe Borelli, for working with us on these sensible reforms. So we're very active across the boroughs, and I know that I'm getting close to my time limit, but I will turn now in a moment to the budget. Do want to note that another area of focus has been creating new tools that help New Yorkers to understand their city and its demographics. In the past year, we released the Population Fact Finder and Map Viewer tools to visualize census data, the DCP Housing Database to see where new housing is being built, the most comprehensive data set ever of building elevations and flood risk, and much more. As these examples should demonstrate, we are committed to making the data that we collect transparent and putting it at the fingertips of New Yorkers. Now for a financial overview, DCP entered fiscal year 2024 with an adopted budget of $48.7 million, an authorized headcount of 353 full-time staff positions, of which $32.8 million and 182 positions are funded with city tax levy dollars. DCP's remaining $15.8 million budget allocation and 171 positions are funded by state and federal grants, primarily through HUD's Community Development Block Grant Program. The $48.7 million fiscal year 2024 adopted budget allocated $32.9 million to agency-wide personnel services, which include part-time staff, interns, and members of the City Planning Commission, and the remaining $15.7 million to other than personal services. In comparison to the fiscal year 24 adopted budget, the fiscal year 25 prelim of $44.1 million and 353 full-time staff lines represents a net $4.6 million decrease, largely attributed to the expiration of one-time project funds and the city's program to eliminate the gap that mandated a 5% reduction in agency spending in the last two financial plans, including a reduction for our environmental consulting budget. The vast majority of the $4.6 million decrease relates to other than personal services, OTPS, and came through EIS savings from realigned priorities. The rest of the decrease is due to OTPS efficiencies that we achieved in such areas as travel, copier rentals, printing, building maintenance, training, telecom subscriptions, things like that. Looking ahead, EIS needs will continue to be assessed to determine any necessary budget adjustments. With personal services, there was no headcount change and a net decrease of $28,000. This was a result of cuts to personnel funding and was offset by increased funding for collective bargaining. Overall, these combined PS and OTPS budget changes result in a decrease of $4.6 million and a zero headcount change to DCP's budget, establishing a fiscal year 25 prelim plan of 353 full-time authorized positions and $44.1 million. The Department of City Planning will continue to distribute its resources in the most effective way possible to advance the department's work program and to meet the needs of New Yorkers, all while striving for bigger, better, and a brighter future for our beloved city. Mr. Chairman, thank you very much for the opportunity to say a few words at the beginning, and I'm all yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for your testimony. I'm going to break protocol very quickly, and I'm just going to allow Councilmember Sanchez to ask a few questions.
Thank you so much, Chair. Really appreciate it. So my first question is on City of Yes. Hi, good to see you all. My first question is on City of Yes for housing opportunity. When does the department anticipate certifying the application and beginning public review?
Let's see, today is the 21st of March. I'd say it's coming soon. We are finishing up our environmental review, and this is a matter of weeks, not months, so I would expect it before the summer.
Great. Is the environmental review process the only limiting factor for the timeline?
Once that is done, we will be ready to refer it over to you and, of course, to community boards.
Okay. And then a sort of technical question. So we understand that the text amendment does not go through the ULURP process, but what is the process that it goes through, and what are the differences?
It's very similar. A text amendment starts with a referral by the Department of City Planning to community boards and to borough presidents. Then it comes back to the City Planning Commission for a public hearing, followed by a public vote. If it proceeds, if it is approved by the City Planning Commission, then it moves on to the City Council for consideration, where the council has, as you know, the ability to approve, disapprove, or modify.
Okay, thank you. And the reason that I'm asking about the timeline is just a concern for community boards. We know that they are offline in the summer, and just making sure that they have ample time to review all of that substance. But I, for one, am very excited to get our hands on the meat, right, on the details behind a lot of these proposals, a lot of which I personally agree with. The second question is a broader one. We know that there is a criticism there is a longstanding criticism that the department has faced about being more of a department of zoning than a department of city planning. And so maybe this is won't editorialize, but wondering how you would respond to that criticism today. What changes has the administration and the department made to move more in the direction of a comprehensive planning framework for the city of New York? And second part to that question, last one, Chair, thank you for the time, is how in the wake of hopefully being successful on some of these City of Yes or all of these City of Yes amendments, how will the city be approaching large parcels of land opportunity sites, such as, and I will be selfish, Fordham Landing in the Bronx, which is a proposed development of over 3,000 units? Thank you.
Great. Well, thank you very much for those questions. And Councilmember Sanchez, I did want to note that on the subject of community boards and giving them ample time to be able to really process a detailed text amendment like housing, and also, as we did with economic opportunity, we intend to give them extra time. And also, we were very clear on the last go-around for economic opportunity that we were not going to bind ourselves at the City Planning Commission or at the Department of City Planning to the specific 50 or 60-day limitations that community boards officially have to give their recommendations. We were accepting comments from community boards right up to and including the day of the vote from the City Planning Commission, because we want to hear their voices, and we also know that these are complicated proposals, and we know that it takes time. I also will note, and then I'll get to your actual questions, that we had on the last go-around on City of Yes for Economic Opportunity, some 175 meetings between the Department of City Planning and community boards on that proposal. I'll remind everybody there's 59 community boards, so it comes out to almost an average of 3 meetings per board, and that's key to our role. We see that as central to the function of the department, and we want to continue to do that. So I just wanted to make that point. I certainly agree. As for the ways we're looking at things more comprehensively, these proposals that we're talking about right here, where we're looking at things on a citywide scale and thinking about ways to thoughtfully advance change for the environment, for economic opportunity, and for housing, are all of an effort for us to do more thoughtful citywide planning. And also to think about the way that we're doing infrastructure investments in connection with planning in a way that makes sense. And I know Chair Riley is going to ask me about it because he said it in his opening statement, so we're going to talk about the way that we allocate funds and the way that we intend to support neighborhood plans and the way that we intend to do citywide efforts on this front. But most importantly, we are trying not to do just site by site by site, but rather to look at this on a citywide basis. And the last thing on Fordham Landing North and other, as you say, large opportunity sites, there are sites in the city like that one, and there are others which are, in many places in this country would be entire cities on their own, and deserve that level of attention and focus. And so we're already working with your team to make sure that they and your community have the tools to be able to shape that proposal. It's a private application, as you note. It has to have zoning approvals. It's going to be a large-scale plan. That means there's lots of opportunity for the community, the council, community board, Department of City Planning Commission, to shape that in a way that we want to see it shaped. So we really look forward to working with you on that one. We know that's an important one to you and to the Bronx and to the whole city.
Thank you so much, Chair. Thank you, Chair Salamanca.
Thank you, Councilmember Sanchez. All right, so in terms of my questioning, I'm going to start off with staffing and attrition. So the Department of City Planning plays a central role in advancing the administration's growth and zoning goals, including the City of Yes agenda. Currently, the department has a 13.9% vacancy rate, about half of the rate it had in July of 2022. Although that progress is a welcome, DCP's borough offices still are struggling with staffing. The Bronx and Queens boroughs offices have vacancy rates of 25% and 30% respectively. I'm a Bronx kid, Mr. Chair. So, question, what are we doing to increase staffing in the borough of the Bronx and Queens respectively?
Well, first of all, let me just note on the vacancy, because I appreciate that we're making progress. We have a way to go. But there also are a couple of additional details baked in there that are worth the council knowing about. That right now there are 49 vacancies, the ones that create that 13.9% number that you noted. But of those, 14 of them are right now pending OMB approval. 7 of them are grant funded through other sources and are not funded. So if you take out the ones that are are in the process of approval at OMB and the ones for which there's no separate grant funding. We're actually at an 8% vacancy rate, but I know your number is accurate, though. It is 49 vacancies over the total number that we have. But I did want to note that if you were to take out the ones that are currently in the process, and the ones for which there is no federal or state funding available, it's more like an 8% vacancy. But put that aside, most importantly, we have lost staff, and we do have some vacancies in some of our borough offices. What we do when that happens is we make sure that our borough offices are staffed sufficiently with central staff from the agency's main headquarters here in Manhattan. We shift resources around to make sure that our work program in the Bronx and Queens continues unabated. We have some very, very big initiatives, as you know, Chairman, in the Bronx that we care about very much. We want to make sure that the Bronx community boards are well served by the agency. That's part of our charter mandated function. We are committed to that. We don't believe we've lost a step, but I know that you, Mr. Chairman, and your colleagues will tell us if we do. But we are working very hard to fill those vacancies, make sure that we are fully staffed up. By the way, there are some ways in which we have done that. We have already been out to meet with the deans of all of the planning schools. We have a fellowship program that we started last fall, which is a 2-year program designed to give people a foot in the door with an eye toward hiring them at the end, an internship program. We also are losing people at a much lower rate. Our attrition is much, much lower. We only lost 2% in quarter 2. So we feel like we are in a much, much stronger position than we have been previously. But I certainly understand your point, and we are very much focused on filling vacancies that we have, particularly in the borough offices where we know that we have some vacancies.
Yeah, I want to start by saying that the Bronx Director for City Planning, we have a great relationship, open dialogue. He's accessible. He was the right choice for the position. But I want to make sure he has the resources that he needs as well, right? Because we're going to hold him accountable, and he does not have the resources necessary or staffing necessary. We cannot hold him to that level of accountability. And we need to ensure that he has staffing so that he can address our zoning concerns. Now, how do the high number of vacancies impact timelines for the processing of applications at DCP?
Well, we are making changes in our processes to find ways to move applications a whole lot faster than we have historically. As I noted in my introductory comments, we are advancing new tools and procedures that will speed up some of these applications to make it easier, particularly smaller housing developments that are all electric and don't have other sensitive concerns like length of time on construction or in flood areas. We are trying to streamline a lot of these procedures so that those projects can move faster. Our timelines on neighborhood plans, our timelines on the City of Yes for housing and economic opportunity have remained consistent throughout. We are working very hard to provide a very positive user experience for private applicants who are coming to engage with us at the department. We have changed the procedure by which they engage. They come in, we get them to a preliminary application statement as quickly as possible, start the clock, measure the amount of time that it is taking from start to finish for these applications, and not go through multiple backs and forths with agency personnel, borough offices, or otherwise. We're trying to make this a lot easier, and we're trying to eliminate redundancies that are unnecessary, that take up a lot of staff time and are frequently working to the great frustration of people who are looking to do important things in the city, like create housing and economic opportunities. So we are creatively making changes here to try to be better and more efficient at what we do. All the while filling key vacancies to make sure that we can do even more at the same time.
In terms of the applications that are submitted, you could give us a percentage. How many applications are focused on housing projects to address the housing crisis, opposed to just rezonings for anything other than housing?
So housing projects versus something else, like a change in a manufacturing district or commercial. That sounds like a chief operating officer question to me. So I'm going to turn to David Parrish and see if he has those readily available.
And I'm going to say that, Councilmember Chair, we're going to have to get back to you with the details. But I will say, in my experience, the vast majority of rezonings and the vast majority of all of our other actions are really about some type of housing creation. A small minority are, for things like public facilities, daycare approvals, things like that. So the vast majority relate to housing. But we'll get you that.
Got it. I think you answered my other line of questioning in terms of what challenges is DCP still facing to backfill some of these vacancies in your agency, but you did state what you're doing to address it in terms of going to schools and trying to recruit graduates. Now, are low salaries or other uncompetitive features making it harder to hire staff?
I think that we are really moving in a positive direction here, judging by our attrition rate, which is very low, and the collective bargaining agreements that were reached, which brought up to 9% raises from longer serving staff, and changes to the work from home dynamic that have been instituted. I do think people who are considering working at a city agency, they've got lots of great options, of course, in New York, but see this one as one that is taking big strides, very mission-driven group of people, very talented. We do extensive professional development at the Department of City Planning. We have a land use academy. We have a speaker series. We've got employee resource groups. Like, we really do try to make this a very positive experience for our team, and I think that is bearing out. So we feel really good about where we're headed, and we certainly continue to make the case that a professional experience at the Department of City Planning is good, positive, and will be very satisfying.
Okay. We're going to move on to questions in terms of the City of Yes, zoning for economic opportunity and housing opportunity. I know that in terms of this amendment, city planning went to all 59 community boards. How many community boards supported the plan versus how many community boards voted it down?
I think we'll get you the final number. It was something along the lines of 30 no's and 21 yeses. But I would have to impress upon you, Mr. Chairman, and the council, to have a close look at what those responses were. Because in both the yeses and the no's, for those community boards that gave us a proposal by proposal evaluation of what we had sent them, the vast majority of these proposals got majority support from community boards. So when you all are in a position to look at the 18 proposals that we're sending you in our City of Yes for Economic Opportunity plan, it has 18 subparts. And community boards, we asked community boards, give it to us every 18. Tell us what you think. We want to know what you think. You like 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9, but you don't like 2, 8, 12, 14, and 18, let us know that. Let us know what we can do. So even in their initial recommendations, when they gave us those tallies, almost all of these proposals got more than 50% support. I will also note that we made changes at the City Planning Commission to address the concerns that were raised at the community board level. So when the time comes for the council to evaluate this proposal, I would strongly encourage you to take a look at the changes that we made and see whether you believe that we have addressed them to your satisfaction. I think that we have gotten this proposal to a good place, and really hope that community boards see that not only did we give them more time than what is defined in the process, but we also were very, very careful in meeting them where they were through those 175 plus meetings, and also evaluating what they sent us and making changes. And I will let you know, Chair, that I did report back to community boards on the changes that we made in response to the community board process, and have also forwarded that on to your offices so that you have that as a point of reference.
In terms of the 18 proposals for this economic opportunity and housing opportunity, I was a former district manager before I became a council member, and I went through the process of MIH and ZQA in the previous administration. This was about 2016, I believe. And the confusion was, it was just too much information for community boards. And the individuals who were presenting to the community boards too were a little confused as to what they were actually presenting. And so all 12 community boards in the Bronx voted it down. So did the borough president at the time. Then I came here as a council member and I voted for it because I understood. I sat down with the land use staff and they gave me a detailed explanation of what exactly MIH and ZQA actually does. Do you not think that in terms of the economic opportunity and housing opportunity, the 18 proposals, it was just too much information that you provided, or the proposal was just too big that was presented to the community boards?
So thank you for that question. First, let me just make one distinction, because the 18 is only economic opportunity. Housing opportunity will come next, so the 18 is just for economic opportunity. And yes, you're right to say this was a big proposal. And yes, you are right to observe that this is the process that we have. So if the only way to do something big in New York City in the context of making citywide changes the way we're proposing is to send a lot of information to community boards, that's what we have to do. But we also need to meet them where they are. Like your point is right. It's just hard. This is complicated. People's eyes glaze over on this stuff frequently if you're not engaging them properly, if you're not talking in a language which makes sense. I remember this too, even as a council member, sitting on the receiving end of the briefings on ZQA and MIH, finding it to be very, very confusing stuff if you're not steeped in it on a daily basis. So we have worked really hard. And this is not perfect because it's very hard. You have a limited amount of time in the context of the community board. We have staff that is out there, they're trying to engage, and we are training them internally to go and make these presentations as accessible as they possibly can be. And we are trying to serve our function as a guide and support to community boards in this context. But no, I don't think that we should shy away from the big things on that account. I think that we should embrace the big things, but provide the necessary support to the people who are there to evaluate them, like community boards, borough presidents, and of course, you all in the council. And you can certainly count on that from us as you now take up economic opportunity. The land use division, they've done a phenomenal job. They're experts in the subject matter. We're here to support them, to support you in whatever you need. We know that this has a lot of complexity to it, but when you do something important, it's going to be hard and complex. And so we are here for the duration to see how we can support you in that.
All right. In terms of the zoning for economic opportunity, the proposal will create a clearer and more enforceable rules about music venues and home occupations. But these new rules will not benefit communities unless they are actually enforced. The Department of Buildings is notoriously understaffed, and the administration has removed nearly all of its inspector vacancies. What is the administration proposing to increase enforcement for zoning and quality of life officials?
Well, I will let the Department of Buildings speak for themselves on their enforcement capacity. But one of the things that is important to us is we have been working very closely with our partner agencies because we know that we're not the enforcer of the zoning rules. That ends up being the Department of Buildings, of course. It has implications for the Department of Environmental Protection and everybody else. We've been working very closely with those partner agencies, and one of the things that is an important note here on economic opportunity is that the Department of Buildings frequently looks at the zoning resolution, zoning text, and sees questions and ambiguities. which makes it very hard for them to actually enforce. So if they have the personnel, sometimes our own zoning rules are creating complexities for them or ambiguities for them, which are making it very hard for them to enforce. So central to City of Yes for Economic Opportunity is to eliminate a lot of those ambiguities that exist in zoning today. Ambiguities in zoning are not the friend of innovators and of business, and they are not the friend of enforcement. So by clearing those up and clarifying use groups and better defining where you can do what, when, and where, we think that this will be easier for the Department of Buildings. I can't speak to your point about vacancies over there, but I can tell you that we have worked very closely with them to try to make this as clean and as easy an enforcement tool as they need to have.
Mr. Chair, you're asking communities to approve, which the majority of community boards voted down to approve this plan, yet the administration is aware that the Department of Buildings is understaffed. I know that's another agency, but city planning is asking us to approve a plan dependent on another agency, and that other agency is understaffed. Why should communities support it, knowing that the enforcement component of it, there will be no enforcement because there's no staff to enforce?
Well, I certainly understand your question, and I understand the concern. What I would say is communities should support this proposal because it is creating real opportunities for New Yorkers, and that our zoning resolution today is laughably outdated in the way that it addresses innovation, the way people live and work, light manufacturing, definitions of typewriter repair shops and airline ticketing offices instead of virtual reality and more modern things like cell phone repair stores. The zoning is prolonging storefront vacancies. It's creating walls of lacks of activity in our commercial and residential corridors. It's impossible in some cases to locate a corner store where people want to. It's difficult for film studios to have flexibility to be able to create a building structure that works for them. And of course, in response to the Speaker and this Council's advocacy, we also are including new tools for manufacturing zones and districts as part of this proposal. So I understand the point that you are raising. My response in the zoning context is we've tried to clarify things to make it easier for the enforcement agencies. But the reason why people should support it, and I will note, again, that of those 18 proposals, almost all of them were met with majority support by the folks who gave us the layout. And so that's the reason why I think people should support it.
All right. Zoning for housing opportunity strives for a more inclusive and affordable city, and the proposed zoning text amendment is hoped to unlock upwards of 100,000 of the administration's target of 500,000 new homes over a decade. Is there an overall breakout of which tools the city hopes to use to generate 500,000 units of housing in a decade?
Right. Thank you for that. Well, obviously, to get to that moonshot goal, it's going to take everybody pitching in, not just us at the city, but also state and federal. The biggest thing that we're doing, of course, is this City of Yes for Housing Opportunity, which is, in sum, the most pro-housing set of changes in the history of New York City zoning. Other moves at the city level to hit that goal include our Get Stuff Built reforms, like cutting red tape to unlock more housing. We have an affordable housing pipeline to build tens of thousands of units over the next decade. And of course, as I noted in my opening, we have 5 neighborhood rezonings in the works that can add thousands of units each. And of course, it's critically important that the state acts to create a successor tax incentive program for new development. Federal factors around financing, interest rate, also really important here. So this is sort of everybody needs to be pulling the boat in the same direction for us to be able to get there. And I will also note that your question was about 10 years, but when we make these zoning changes, we're looking backward to rules that were established in 1961. So the things that we do today will guide us over a long period of time till the 2080s and beyond. And so we believe that it will continue to enable housing over the long term.
All right. I will, I'm going to hand it over to the chair, Chair Riley, for questioning.
Thank you, Chair Salamanca. How you doing, Director Gorodnick? I'm just going to start my line of questioning first with the PEG restorations. For fiscal year 2025, the PEG institutes a $1.5 million on the environmental impact studies, which will reduce DCP's capacity to conduct neighborhood rezonings and achieve additional planning goals. However, DCP has indicated that this cut will be restored in the fiscal year 2025 executive budget. So with that being stated, can you please confirm that the PEG will be reversed in the executive budget, and will the whole PEG be reversed across all years of the financial plan?
Thanks, Chair Riley. We're working very closely with OMB with our actual projections of need, so that whether the whole PEG is restored or less is restored, we're working with them to get the funding we need to advance our citywide initiatives and our 5 neighborhood plans. So we feel very confident about that and have had great support from the administration.
If this fund is restored, will DCP take on additional neighborhood plans?
Yes, the answer is yes. We intend to take on more neighborhood plans. It's central to our mission to do neighborhood plans. There are 5 live right now, and there will be more to come. And yes, that's critical for us and for our mission.
Thank you. Going into the SEED program, I'd like to focus on the capital funded requirement to make rezonings a success. In March 2022, the administration launched its Rebuild, Renew, and Reinvent blueprint for the city's economic recovery. In it included the launch of the New York City Strategy for Equity and Economic Development, the SEED Fund. What is DCP's role in the SEED Fund, and what is the total size of the SEED Fund in the budget?
Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about how we view SEED and how we view capital funding in connection with neighborhood plans, because I think that is really the core of this issue. So SEED is the initiative, Strategy for Equity and Economic Development, that's going to be used to support capital investments related to neighborhood plans. So when we do a neighborhood plan, it is our intention to make associated capital investments as part of that neighborhood plan. To do that, we will look at the scale of the change that's being proposed, historic disinvestment, resiliency, both climate for economic growth for each neighborhood. This is a different approach than what had been done previously. And we think that it is the right route for us to take a look at the needs in an individual neighborhood where we have focused a neighborhood plan, look at community board statements of needs, look at agencies' priorities and what is actionable, listen to council members about what they want to see done in their own turf, and talk about what is the biggest needs that are created by our own neighborhood plan and opportunities. And once we throw that in the mix, that will define the projects that are funded. So it's really a process which is defining the projects, and the projects will be funded as part of that initiative.
And during that process, usually the typical, I know in my community board, usually hear about schools, parks, libraries, roads, traffic. What about sewage? Being that proposed, a lot of this is increasing density within these communities, and we're seeing a lot of stormwater issues when it's raining. Is sewage, investment looked at during the SEED process?
Yes, we have to be all inclusive here when we're thinking about a neighborhood plan, and in some neighborhoods that's more of an issue than others, and we see that, And so our goal here is to be thoughtful about the needs that are presented and make commensurate capital investments. Bronx Metro North, that's underway. And that will be the first real example of this. So I've got, 3 local council members right here on the dais, and we'll look forward to working with you to deliver that.
Thank you. A recent analysis by the IBO shows that the prior administration capital commitments were funded by a mix of funds from the NDF and overall capital budget. However, the NDF is almost entirely accounted for by prior commitments. If the NDF remains depleted or is being phased out, how does DCP intend to budget for neighborhood capital investments alongside neighborhood rezoning?
Right. The way we do it is the way that I just described. And one of the things I will note, though, is on that IBO report of the capital projects and the funding, you're correct to say NDF, that's a thing of the past. That was an old administration approach to doing this work. We intend to also deliver significant capital investments as part of our neighborhood plans, but we'll do it through a process that is built up through thoughtful, community-based priorities, council members, and factors that include the size of the change and historic disinvestment. But the outcome will be equally, if not more significant. As for the IBO's conclusion about 70%, I did want to note that some of the programs that had been committed to through points of agreement in past neighborhood plans, they were funded through a variety of different sources, not only through the historic NDF, but also through agency general capital budgets, and that's not so easily visible to the IBO or others. So when the IBO found that 70% of planned commitments had been spent or budgeted to date, they were only looking at NDF projects and other large, very specific projects that they could identify in the budget. We at the Department of City Planning made efforts with the IBO for the other 30% of projects to show them where they were funded, but they did not adopt that in their report because they could not precisely match our data with and identify the projects in the city system. We understand that. We would have preferred if they had just put an asterisk and noted that they could not specifically identify the other 30%, because in fact, 100% of those projects are funded or completed or underway. So that's a significant difference in conclusion, and it's an important one because we want to make sure that you, Mr. Chairman, and your colleagues understand that when commitments are made, they need to be kept. And it is central to our work to do neighborhood planning, to do capital planning alongside and meet those commitments.
This current preliminary fiscal from 2024 to 2028 capital commitment plan has $216 million for NDF. Is any of that money still available?
Yes. That is money that has been planned to be spent for fiscal year 2024, 2025 as part of those past commitments. So that's part of
still available.
It's still there,
Okay.
and that's part of the 100% funded that I was referring to a moment ago.
Thank you. And what is the next seed investment under consideration?
Bronx Metro North. That's it. It's actually the first. It really is. We've piloted the SEED program to test the way that we're evaluating projects, and we have executed some pilots in East New York, some streetscape improvements on Steinway Street and St. Andrew's Playground in Bed-Stuy, and the Davidson Community Center in the Bronx. We've piloted it, but Bronx Metro North is the first neighborhood plan where this will be applicable. And we're really excited because we know that this is an important piece of the puzzle, and we're looking forward to working with you and your colleagues to get a great result here.
Thank you. Just going to give some questions around the City of Yes. So can you share how the City of Yes will extend home ownership opportunities for the working class New Yorkers struggling for higher housing costs?
Zoning is neutral on rental versus home ownership. But by creating opportunities, and particularly in the sorts of typologies that are so limited today from existing zoning, we believe we're opening the door significantly to home ownership opportunities along with everything else. By creating a little more housing in every neighborhood, we break down what were otherwise these artificial barriers which have limited housing from being created in all but a small handful of areas of the city. We need to do that. The impacts of not doing that are real. It has not only limited home ownership opportunities for people, but it has pushed rents way up. Our vacancy rate at 1.41%. Thank you, the council, recognizing that, declaring housing emergency yesterday. I mean, we are in it. We are in it. We've got problems at all levels. Home ownership is certainly limited by the absence of supply and the absence of opportunity. So the big picture answer there is let's create more opportunities, and with it will come more home ownership opportunities.
Do you believe 500 new units can happen without activating major office conversions to residential?
So part of the proposal for our City of Yes for Housing Opportunity, as you know, Mr. Chairman, is to enable more liberal rules for office to residential conversion. We think that that will yield some 20,000 units of housing by changing the date of eligibility from 1961 to 1990, expanding the geographic eligibility from what is functionally Midtown and downtown Manhattan plus Long Island City and downtown Brooklyn to citywide. We will allow for another 136 million square feet of commercial office space to be eligible for conversion. That's more office space than exists in the entire city of Philadelphia. We don't expect all of it to convert. It's because it's complicated, it's expensive, but we do think that some of it will take advantage of it. We have made that estimate on housing. It's a piece of the puzzle. It is not the piece of the puzzle. It is a piece of the puzzle, but it's important because we have a lot of commercial office buildings that today are struggling. We need to help them, and we also need to create housing in the process.
Okay. What data and metrics will the department use to track the progress of the City of Yes initiatives?
Well, one thing that we will do, well, first, we got to get the thing passed. So I don't want to get ahead of myself as chairman. So thank you. So if we fast forward to next year, the council has approved this proposal in full without a single edit. Then we will, thank you, right? It was a laugh line. Thank you. We will measure, of course, where, and we always do measure where we see housing starts, permitted housing. That's just something that is part of our routine oversight of what's happening in the city. We do it, HPD does it, and we, of course, will look forward to reporting back to you on the success of all of that.
Thank you. Chair, I have a second round of questions, but I would like to see if the colleagues have any questions.
All right, thank you. Mr. Chair, I will now hand it over to Majority Leader Farias for questions.
Thank you so much, chairs. Hi, folks. I will compliment you in that as soon as this started, your Twitter account already had a great photo of all three of you on here. So kudos to your comms team for being on top of transparency to the people of New York. I'd like to jump into some questions around industrial development strategic plans. As you know, we worked really diligently on Local Law 172 of 2023, sponsored by myself and the council, requiring the Department of City Planning and Small Business Services, along with the Economic Development Corporation, to develop an industrial development strategic plan for industrial business zones throughout the city. So does DCP have the adequate staffing and resources to undertake the citywide industrial development strategic plan as required by Local Law 172?
We certainly do, and we're looking forward to working with you on all of that. We know what our deadlines are, and we've already begun thinking about how best to deliver this to you.
Amazing. And what so far is the progress of implementing the law?
So it's early at this stage. As you know, deadlines don't even start till late of 2025.
Yes.
But we have started thinking about how we are going to do engagement, how we're going to do the measurement of the questions that were asked in the law, how we're going to best identify opportunities. The first thing, and most important, I would say, for the purposes of today, is that we have forwarded to the City Council a piece of the puzzle in the economic opportunity text, in that we're sending you 3 new manufacturing districts which could be mapped.
Yep.
So, and very much thanks to you and your colleagues and the Speaker for asking us to do that. And we anticipate making recommendations about where those sorts of tools should be used. And we look forward to developing all of this in partnership with you.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. The Speaker and I will take all credit. And then, do you have any scope or any idea of how many jobs could the Industrial Action Plan generate? Maybe any anticipated in the union workforce?
I'm sorry, not yet. Not yet.
And should we expect any new needs related to the industrial development strategic plans in the executive budget? The best answer is no for me. But
Yeah, well, I'm going to turn it over to David on this
Sure.
one.
We have not heard back on budget needs for the executive budget. We did submit a proposal to OMB.
Okay, great. Does the proposal include any new needs specifically to these strategic plans?
Yes, it does.
Okay, thank you. I have a couple questions on freight and last mile warehouses. As we know, the growth of e-commerce has brought a new model of enormous last mile distribution facilities to our industrial areas, particularly Red Hook and Hunts Point. Communities are raising important concerns about the impacts of truck traffic and the concentration of facilities in certain neighborhoods. Has DCP studied the growth of these facilities, and is the agency planning to address them?
This is a really important issue, and we are looking at this very closely because we have seen concentrations of last mile facilities in specific corners of the city, and it has an impact that is concerning. So yes, we are looking at it. There are other agencies that are also looking at this question, of course, and that DOT primarily, and so we're looking forward to working with them to continue that conversation because we see this as a real issue.
Are you folks working cohesively? Is there a different format of how you're aggregating data or doing analysis?
The Department of Transportation is thinking about the ways to advance more sustainable and truly last mile operations for goods delivery here. They are because we're talking about movement of trucks, they would be the primary agency to do that. But I will note that we have been working with DOT in the Red Hook study to analyze truck and traffic patterns in that area. And we're also considering some possible solutions that could potentially mitigate some of the impacts here. I also will note, not to be a broken record and bring it back to City of Yes for economic opportunity, but also in this proposal is an opportunity to do micro distribution, which would allow for some of this to be done actually in the neighborhoods where packages are being delivered. So have small, discrete places to move in and out, so that there's not so much of a demand on a last mile facility, and to do it in a way where you don't have either extra truck trips that are not necessary or loading and unloading of boxes on sidewalks, which is what too frequently is happening right now. So this is not the cure-all to this problem, but this is a piece which I hope meets with your support.
Thank you. I'd like to make a last plug, just to, as often as you folks can, both your agency and DOT, to work with the EDC. We just passed a bill in the Committee on Economic Development on shore power. That one of the main problems that we're seeing in Red Hook is the traffic mitigation. Chair, I have a couple of questions left, if I may.
Yes.
Thank you. And then just quickly on the environmental impacts from these facilities having on pollution, traffic congestion, and others at the neighborhood level, have we looked at that? Do we know what those are, other than public testimony we've received? Or even the availability of industrial land for job-intensive industrial manufacturing uses?
This is going to be part of the question of what is available, what is being used where. We view as central to the law that you passed and that we are now beginning to engage on. There really has not been this level of hard look at manufacturing uses, as you know, and we think we totally support it. And we think that it is the responsible thing for us to be doing at this moment, and also perhaps will help us answer some of the questions that you're asking me right now, which I think are excellent questions. We need to get into it.
Okay, great. And then I just have a last question. I'm excited that we made manufacturing in New York City sexy. You know, we're trying our hardest here. Since 1961, we brought it back. Just really quickly to lean in a bit on the Metro North rezoning and the community concerns that we've seen come up through our many community engagement processes that both the council have put together and DCP. Firstly, thank you so much for working so diligently with us on all of that. I'd like to know if there's a specific budget or if we've figured out how we're going to specifically fund or set aside funding for Metro North infrastructure improvements, safety improvements, even items like the community center, park space, or the police center that has come up within these rezonings.
So the short answer is we are amassing all of the opportunities right now. We are consulting with sister agencies. We're looking at community district needs that have been stated by community boards. We're looking to the priorities that you and your colleagues have set out. We will come back to you all to talk about what we view as the primary opportunities here. And that is all going to be put in through the process that I described to Chair Riley of look at the size of the change, look at historic disinvestment, find projects that are actionable, find things that directly address the needs that are identified as part of the neighborhood plan. But that's coming soon, and we look forward to having that conversation with you.
Okay, great. Really look forward to seeing where in the budget or if there's a specific budget on some of these things specifically in the Parkchester component. And then I just want to make a last and final comment with CHO oncoming. We really just want to stress, we worked really hard on net neutrality, worked really hard on economic opportunity. I really want to impress on the administration and DCP to make sure that the community is engaged fully in ZHO. It's a smaller amounts of proposals, but really big proposals, and we want the community engaged as often and frequently as possible. So please continue doing that with us, and thank you for the additional time, chairs.
Thank you, and we agree that's critically important here, and we will.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Now I will, for questions, I will hand it over to Councilmember Joseph.
Thank you, chairs. Just going to read a brief statement. I'm Councilmember Rita Joseph, representing the 40th District. Coney Island Avenue runs through a portion of my district, but stretches from Prospect Park to Brighton Beach. Over the years, we've had numerous tragedies along the street with pedestrians, cyclists killed by motor vehicles. The zoning along the avenue has not been updated for decades, as you mentioned, since 1961, and fosters a landscape of self-storage, gas stations, fast food. We've seen individual rezoning application, but we need more comprehensive and community-led approach that facilitates affordable housing, street improvements, infrastructure investments, and economic development. I urge the Department of City Planning to work with partner city agencies to focus on a plan for Coney Island Avenue. The department has taken on this task in other areas of the city, and I call on them to do the same here. I look forward to working with the administration and making this a reality with the community which deserve these improvements and investments. However, DCP recently indicated to us that for the time being, all further neighborhood planning efforts are on hold due to budget constraints. Neighborhood planning is one of our best tools to simultaneously deliver on both the city housing goals and local investments to uplift communities. With delays on neighborhood planning for Coney Island Avenue, I'm concerned we may be missing an opportunity and will be left with scattered private development application without coordinated city investments. So when the council approved my first project, 534 Coney Island Avenue application, I called for DCP to consider a neighborhood rezoning plan instead of further private application. Has there been any progress with this ask?
So first of all, thank you for your clarity and for your advocacy for us to do a neighborhood-wide plan on Coney Island Avenue. We hear you loud and clear, and we agree that this is a really, really important area and deserves our attention. I don't know what precisely was relayed to you, but what should be conveyed to you is that we believe that for the purposes of completing a neighborhood plan in this mayoral term and this council term, we think that we are at our max. So we've got 5 that are underway. They're all coming to you all, we hope, in due course. That does not mean, however, that we cannot advance a neighborhood plan to continue beyond that goalpost. And in fact, we are right now in the process of evaluating that very question of what's next. You know, these things don't all happen at once. They come one at a time so as to manage our own workflow, environmental, technical review, borough office staff time, et cetera. We're very interested in this one, as you know, council member, and you should not have taken whatever was said. I don't know what was actually said as a no. It's not a no. It is a, we want to figure out where this one fits in our plan, but we're very interested in it, and we really appreciate that you are advocating for us to do it. It's really important. So thank you for that.
Thank you. So how does DCP intend to accomplish our city housing production goals without adding additional neighborhoods? That plan cannot happen, especially, for example, this corridor on Coney Island Avenue. Ever since I was a kid, this is my neighborhood. I grew up there. That's Kensington. But I grew up in Ditmas Park, right down the street. It's always been that way. Storage, restaurants, auto shops, but nothing
The
else.
short answer is we can't. We can't.
Okay. It's on the record.
We can't. We have to do more neighborhood plans. We've got 5 that are live and underway. More will come. We're right now looking at the questions, including Coney Island Avenue, as to what's next. But we love partnering with council members to advance thoughtful change in their neighborhoods, and we love it when we have great partners. So this would be a very exciting one for us. So we look forward to coming back to you soon.
Thank you. Is there a timeline I could count on?
Well, I appreciate that. Then over the coming months, we're going to be figuring out what's next. So we have not launched a new neighborhood plan. We have several which are going to be voted on a timeline that pushes us toward the end of 2025 that haven't yet even been certified. So they take, as you know, they take some time to develop and to mature here a little bit to a point where they can be certified. But we hope to be able to give you real direction on that in the coming months.
And you're going to have all the resources you need to get this done?
Yes.
You heard that? Thank you so much, Chairs.
Thank you, Councilmember Joseph. Now we'll get questions from Councilmember Rivera.
Hi, thank you for your testimony. Just to follow up on Councilmember Joseph's question, how do you prioritize a rezoning? I see here you have a few projects that are very exciting in Queens and in the Bronx that you've mentioned a couple times. But is it that council members reach out to you? Is it that you look at certain parts of the city? Like, how does that work?
It's a great question, and the answer is it's a mix. It's obviously very influential to us when a council member like Councilmember Joseph in a public forum says, hey, I want to be your partner and I want you to work with me to do something that's very hard. Okay? So to me, that's a very big deal. And of course, that's the level of partnership that we have enjoyed with all of the neighborhood plans that are presently ongoing. And we appreciate that. But it's not only that. There are some neighborhoods that have long been recognized as needing, rejuvenation, or that they are struggling in a variety of different ways, opportunity for housing, the Bronx Metro North Plan, which, yes, I have mentioned a number of times, and not just because I've got 3 local council members here on the panel. 2 of them are chairs of this hearing, not just for that reason, but it's also our first. But that one has been around for quite some time as a concept. And the MTA and the fact that they're adding new Metro North stations in the East Bronx, that obviously becomes a very significant precipitating factor for that conversation. So there's no one thing, but we certainly do, and I certainly do as a former member of the council, recognize the importance of having a serious partnership with a member who can work with us, who can do all of the hard things necessary to accomplish this difficult task.
Yeah, I was, because you ushered in the East Midtown rezoning, which I know was more commercial based, which was a big deal, and there's Midtown South on here, which are 42 Manhattan blocks. So just making sure there's equity in what you're looking at. I like Midtown, and I certainly have some ideas for my district, but I want to ensure that my colleagues receive the same sort of attention. The other thing that it also affects my district disproportionately, I can't help but mention it, are resiliency measures and what you're doing around that work. I know you released a building elevation and subgrade data set that was just late last year. That's the most comprehensive data yet available on elevations of New York City buildings. The data should help the city assess flood risk and improve emergency management and, of course, direct funding for local climate resilience efforts, which is very exciting. How has the building elevation data set been used so far? Are any building code or zoning changes expected from the data? And if so, where?
Yeah, I think it's an excellent question, and it was recently released.
Yeah.
And it was released and the people who would be making those changes are not our agency. But I will say that being able to identify in the context of Department of Buildings or emergency management to be able to communicate the areas where there's likely to be flooding in the future is a really important tool. I know that they are all looking at this actively right now and thinking about how best to put it to work for New Yorkers, because this came, as you know, from a terrible tragedy with Hurricane Ida, and the city didn't really have this information. So we will further evaluate what we have released to better understand the overall risks and to inform the changes that you're mentioning. But I do know that our sister agencies are looking at this right now and thinking about how best to put it to use.
Yeah, I figure you're considering climate change and vulnerability with respect to some of the long-term development plans and patterns. So it's certainly, I know in some parts of my district, not all, but it's important. But I'm very much looking forward to working with you all on increasing housing production and supply, and ensuring that the rezonings that have transpired in the past and the work that we've done in places like Soho and NoHo, that we continue to follow up and implement that successfully, because now we're seeing that in other transit-rich areas, which I think is a phrase that we all like to use very much, and I think it's very smart. But we want to ensure that that's implemented as successfully as possible. So it could be a model, but we could also do a lot better.
Fair enough.
Thank you so much for the time, Mr. Chairs.
Thank you, Councilmember Rivera. Mr. Chair, I want to ask you a few questions about rezonings, prior rezonings, rezonings that occurred prior to this administration. Now, Local Law 175 of 2006 requires DCP to publish a list of capital and programmatic commitments associated with neighborhood scale rezonings and an annual progress report detailing the status of each initiative. However, DCP's website for this requirement dictates that the last update was done in June of 2022. Why did DCP not provide any updates in 2023?
Yes, thank you for that. There was a gap in COVID. We're fixing that, but understand that is something that is not okay and needs to be addressed. So I appreciate you raising that, and we will fix it.
All right. So I take it that you there will be a tracker for 2024.
Yes, the Mayor's Office of Operations, which updates that tracker, is in the process of addressing this, and yes, it will be fixed on an ongoing basis.
All right. In addition to tracking points of agreement, commitments, does DCP monitor the success of the prior neighborhood rezoning in meeting their affordable housing and housing production goals?
Go ahead, David.
Chair. So yes, we take a look at that. Sorry for the back and forth. We take a look at that, and also as it relates to the points of agreement, I wanted to point out that we, particularly for NDF funded projects, we routinely track them with deep collaboration with OMB, so that we are aware of all the dollars being spent, where they're being allocated, what years they go to, and status updates, which we collect twice a year, and then we work regularly with OMB on the budget data. So while we do these look backs to understand what's actually being done pursuant to our commitments, we want to make sure that our commitments are held up.
Are you tracking how those rezonings, the impact it's had on that community in terms of displacement and gentrification?
Well, one of the tools that we have that is an ongoing basis and that we look at regularly at the City Planning Commission is a displacement risk index that was activated through local law, and it's something that we scrutinize very closely at the Commission. Racial equity report, displacement risk, and it is something that commissioners look at closely anytime anything is happening in a neighborhood. I will, not to again make another plug, but one of the biggest factors for displacement risk is absence of supply here. And Chair Salamanca, this is an important stat which you may know already, but in 2022, of the 59 community boards in New York City, 9 of them produced as much housing as the other 50 combined. Yep, one of them is yours. And so when we're talking about displacement risk, gentrification, that is a direct feature of building walls around entire parts of the city where we can't functionally build any housing. So I just wanted to note that, because displacement risk is a real thing, obviously, and it's something that we need to deal with. And by creating more supply, we have a chance to actually deal with it significantly.
Okay. Now, current rezonings, I know we spoke about the Bronx Metro North. I want to talk just briefly on the Atlantic Avenue. What is the status on the Atlantic Avenue rezoning, and when is DCP planning to certify this neighborhood rezoning? We're pre-certification. We're working very closely with Councilmember Hudson. This is we still have a number of months left for pre-certification in our early work. I would say in the fall we will be live on that one. Has the administration set aside capital dollars for this critical project?
So the way we're going to do this is to identify the projects, and as part of identifying those projects, in coordination with OMB, they will be assigned a specific project identifier, which will be funded at that time. So we are committed. We can't do a neighborhood plan without significant capital dollars, but what we're doing is we're identifying the projects, and then we are working with OMB to directly ascribe the dollars.
A few years back, when the city voted, the council voted to, I think it was the end of 2019, beginning of 2020, voted for the closing of Rikers Island and building the borough-based jails. There were commitments that were made throughout the 4 communities in which we're going to receive a new jail or a upgraded jail. I know in the Bronx, Councilmember Ayala negotiated certain capital and program. She negotiated certain capital needs that the administration committed to, and also some program funding for that. Do you know the status of the commitments that were made to Councilmember Ayala, or at least to the South Bronx, and where are we with those commitments?
Let me come back to you on that. I do not know specifically, but I will find out for you.
Okay. I'm going to hand it off to Chair Riley for his second round of questions.
Thank you, Chair Salamanca. Director Gorodnick, just for the record, can you give me the size of the seed fund?
So I think it's a misnomer to call it a fund. It is a process. SEED is a strategy. It is the way that we're going to identify the projects that will be funded. So in the past administration and over the past number of years, there was a specific dollar amount set aside for the purpose of neighborhood plans. And that dollar amount was drawn down and has now been drawn down functionally to zero. So what we are trying to do
So it's zero now.
Yeah, it's zero. There's nothing in there. I mean, there might be a small amount left over from one of the prior neighborhood plans. We are trying to do this in a different way. We're trying to do this in a neighborhood-focused manner that addresses some of the flaws that we saw with that, pot of funds structure, because every neighborhood's needs are unique. As our planners work with each community, we're going to consider each area on its own merits and identify and prioritize the capital needs that support the scale of the change and also address historic disinvestment. So that means, by doing that on a neighborhood-focused approach, it means there's not a set pot, so that we don't intentionally put one neighborhood up against another. We got 5 neighborhood plans right now. You have just a pot. We don't want neighborhoods fighting with each other over that. What we want to do is we want to thoughtfully identify what neighborhoods need and deliver it. So that's the way we are approaching it. So to call it a fund it's really not right. It is a process, one that we think will more thoughtfully balance needs across neighborhoods and also allow us to get to the real heart of what neighborhood capital needs are and to deliver it.
Okay. My 2 line of questions are going to be regarding Get Stuff Built and office conversions for the remainder. So last year, the fiscal 2024 preliminary budget included a new need for Get Stuff Built. We all know the mayor loves Get Stuff, so we got to Get Stuff Built. 8 temporary positions were added, with approximately $796,000 in funding for fiscal year 2024 and $720,000 for fiscal year 2025. These staff were intended to advance Get Stuff Built initiatives and develop digital tools and service related to the city's environmental quality review, data dissemination, and reducing the complexity of analysis. So with that being stated, can you provide an update on the status of last year's new need for Get Stuff Built? Are all 8 positions filled, and what progress has it made so far?
Yeah, so 7 of the 8 positions are currently filled, and the green fast track that Chair Gorodnick spoke about, the research that was required, the rulemaking, we built an online tool to guide people through that green fast track, which is frankly really cool, and we can share it in the next couple of weeks with you. That is all bearing fruit because of this investment the city made. We're also making other changes to our land use process to speed things up, but that process takes quite a long time, and so it will take time for those changes to shorten the overall application process.
Thank you. One of the proposals was to report to reduce the long rounds of closed-door pre-application meetings between DCP staff and land use applicants, and instead move more quickly towards publicly available filed application. Is that still happening?
That has happened, and I'm going to turn to David to say how it has happened. But yes, we're happy to share with you that is already underway.
Yeah, thanks to Edith's leadership with the borough offices, we are now limiting those private meetings at the very beginning of the process. And one other change we've made is to limit applicants to 1 draft application so that applications get filed sooner. And of course, when an application gets filed, that gets shared with community boards, the city council, and others, which gives all those folks a longer runway in seeing the information that applicants are proposing.
Is there a specific budget line in DCP's budget for Get Stuff Built?
It's across a couple of different divisions, our IT, our planning support, and there's not a specific budget line. Most of our headcount is pretty generalized.
In August 2023, the city launched an office conversion accelerator to expedite complex office to housing conversions projects, and you spoke about this before, Director Gorodnik, and potential 136 million square feet. And we do understand this is going to be very challenging to obtain and complete. Can you provide an update on the work DCP is doing with office conversions right now?
Yes. So the office accelerator is up and underway. It's receiving interest from building owners that are looking.
And also, if you go into the next milestone, sorry to cut you off.
The next milestone?
Yeah.
People are approaching the city in the context of this accelerator and asking how the city can move them faster through the process. And there's been interest. I think some 50 buildings have showed up to say, or the buildings themselves have not come by, but their owners, let's say, or representatives have come by to express an interest in looking at an office to residential conversion. And that's great. That's an important tool, and it's working. But most fundamentally, there's a limitation to how far that can go. So the next milestone for us is for us at the Department of City Planning to refer out City of Yes for housing opportunity to community boards, borough presidents, and ultimately to the council, because it is in that very text where we will propose to change the rules to enable this to happen more freely. So the next milestone will be in the coming months. We will send that proposal out to community boards, and it will land on your desk, Mr. Chairman, sometime later this year.
I can't wait.
I'll bet.
My last question, what budget and policy changes do the city and DCP need to in order to help convert these offices into housing?
So the biggest policy changes relate to the date of eligibility for the buildings. Today, as a practical matter, if your building is not in Midtown Manhattan and built before 1961, you're not eligible to take advantage of the rules that would enable a conversion. There are exceptions to this, of course. 1977 in Lower Manhattan, the geography is a little broader than what I just said. It also includes Long Island City and downtown Brooklyn. But functionally, Manhattan Central, pre-1961, you're eligible. Everywhere else, not possible. We want to change, the first thing we want to do is we want to change that date of eligibility from 1961, 1977, Lower Manhattan, to 1990. We also want to broaden the geographic eligibility so that it's not just the areas that I described, but also make it citywide. So if you are in an area which today allows for residential, we would enable you to do a conversion to residential. We also want to allow for different types of housing in the context of an office to residential conversion. And these are the big policy moves that we'd like to see. In addition, and this one needs Albany, we would like Albany to deliver to us a tax incentive so we can create affordable housing in the context of an office to residential conversion. That is a really important tool, and we hope that they give us that opportunity as part of this legislative session.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Riley. Just two more questions, and we're done here, Mr. Chair. The administration's initiatives on ZEO and ZHO are raising a lot of concerns and confusion among communities. In response, DCP has held briefings with all the community boards, but this engagement is just a start. There needs to be a deeper and ongoing engagement with communities. Since the pandemic, has DCP's staffing for community engagement increased or decreased?
It's actually increased in that we have established an entire unit designed to community engagement. That's a new initiative from this Department of City Planning, recognizing the need for us to speak the same language as New Yorkers as it relates to these complicated proposals. It's one of the reasons we were able to do 175 plus meetings with community boards, and it's one of the reasons we are able to train our own staff and planners that are going out to engage with the public to use more common language and to try to demystify some of these concepts, which are inherently very, very hard. So the short answer to your question is yes, we have an entire team of people whose job it is to do better community engagement. To your point, this is mission critical. We need to make sure that people understand what we're after for its own sake, but also we know that's important to the council members at the end of the day who are going to be voting on this proposal.
Sounds good.
May I add to that?
Yes.
Thank you. Yes, it is, we view it absolutely a responsibility to make sure the content of proposals are accessible and comprehensible. And in addition to the new unit that the chair spoke of, our community plan engagement team, we're also using many more new tools of engagement. So we have more public info sessions, we have open houses, we are out in libraries, we have active workshops. So we are very active in developing new ways to making sure that folks understand what we're talking about. It's really important to us. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, I want to thank you and your team for today's budget hearing. I will be following up with your agency on the vacancies in the Bronx. I want to make sure that my Bronx director gets the help that he needs. And please let your city planning staffers know that we appreciate them. I know at times they may feel unappreciated, but we appreciate them. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Mr. Chairman. It's good to see you all.
All right,
Thank you.
take care. We're going to take a 2-minute recess, and we're going to start with public session, public comments. They get sworn out, right?
Yeah.
All right, Sergeant Honors, they get 2 minutes.
Okay, Mr. Chair, with your permission, we will now move to the public testimony portion. We will begin with speakers who are present in the room with us today. And so I will invite to the panel table Sarah Internicola, Sarita Subramanian, and Paula Siegel. And you may all three approach the table and get settled. And sorry if I mispronounced anyone's name. We will, after the in-person testimony, we will take testimony from 2 remote Zoom participants, Kevin Wolf and Emily Goldstein. Thank you both very much. Thank you all for your patience. We will go to you after the in-person testimony.
So, We'll begin, if we can just start in order.
Good afternoon, Chair Salamanca. My name is Sarita Subramanian, and I'm Senior Research and Strategy Officer at the New York City Independent Budget Office. Thank you for the opportunity to testify at this hearing to discuss IBO's recent report on capital pledges for recent neighborhood rezonings, written by Zach Herman and Sarah Internicola, who joins me here today. We thank Councilmember Natasha Williams for requesting this research. The bulk of my testimony, my written testimony, focuses on the capital dollars pledged as a result of 8 recent neighborhood rezonings and progress on those pledges. But I wanted to first discuss some of the questions around our analysis that came up as brought to your attention by Director Gorodnick. And so I thought it would be helpful to explain the process of how we identified capital projects, and to clarify that we did look at both projects that were funded by the NDF as well as projects that are funded within city agency budgets. So our analysis really focused on, started with the point of agreements, and so we looked specifically at capital projects and used text searches to identify the specific projects within the city's capital commitment plan. So we looked project by project using data from the adopted capital commitment plan. And so for the NDF specific projects, they also followed standard naming protocols that allowed us to sort of look comprehensively at both pots of money, both within city budgets and the NDF funds. And so the other aspect of my testimony that I wanted to highlight was that there are sort of 3 types of pledges in points of agreements. First are the capital pledges, which is what we looked at. Others are expense pledges in the expense budget. But there are also policy pledges, and those actually accounted for the majority of, if you look at by number of pledges in points of agreements. And those do not have dollars stipulated in the POAs, which makes them particularly challenging to track from a transparency perspective in order for us to determine whether or not those pledges were actually committed to. So I do think that I did also want to clarify, we include in the testimony and also in our larger report a table by neighborhood. So while it is true that we note that all 8 rezoned areas have at least 70% of their pledged dollars spent or budgeted to date, there is quite a bit of variation by neighborhood. So we do recognize that some are over, the amount that was budgeted is over what was initially pledged, but we do also note some that were under that amount. And to Director Gorodnick's comment about the difference between those that are under 100% and those that are at 100%, I think that relates to the fact that we compared to the points of agreements, the initial agreement. So it is possible that projects could come under budget just as much as projects can cost more than what was initially agreed upon. So that's something that we are very much interested in gaining a better understanding of. Obviously from the data that we have available to us, we're not able to identify the reasons why projects would come under. And so, we're very much interested in understanding that difference between what is under versus at 100%.
Thank you. This was helpful.
Good afternoon, Chairperson and the rest of the committee in absentia. My name is Paula Siegel. I am here today as Senior Staff Attorney in the Take Root Justice Equitable Neighborhoods Unit, and I'm here to present our budget testimony, which focuses on some expenditures that we want to make sure are in the budget, particularly the continued support of this Council for Community Land Trusts, which we've taken 5 years, and it feels like we've done 25 years worth of work. I'm working with new groups that are not in the initiative yet, and we really need to expand the initiative to make sure that there's space for them to have funded positions, that we're not relying on all volunteers to plan for the future of our city. I think it was Councilmember Sanchez earlier today who said that we have a Department of Zoning instead of a Department of City Planning. And as much as the agency is moving away from that, what we have in the Community Land Trust Initiative is a grassroots planning infrastructure that is both planning for specific sites and planning for neighborhoods and planning for policies that will improve neighborhoods across the board. I saw you flip to the last page. We just put out a report this week where we used actually census data to have a data-driven analysis that shows that the city's lien sale, which was a Rudy Giuliani policy, disproportionately or proportionately impacts tenants. 85% of the units in buildings going through the lien sale are actually renters and not people who live in homes where they have their name on the deed. That's not surprising in a city of renters, but we need planning and policies that protect those tenants. And we want to see that put in place this year. That's going to take supporting the Department of Finance and making sure that there's staff to really put a new system in place. Happy to answer any questions.
I have a question, yeah.
Yeah.
So I see here in your community land trust, so I think almost every organization that's on it that covers the Bronx, they're either in my district, or if they're not, they're
right next to it.
No, they may have property that they're managing in my district.
Yeah.
Right, like Northwest Bronx Community and Clergy Coalition. I know that they've done some work in my district. How much funding do they get now in this fiscal year that we're in now?
So the way the initiative works is groups that, this is a little confusing, but there's $1.5 million in the initiative now, and we really try to stretch it.
Yeah. All right.
So the one unit of funding is a little bit under 100,000. New groups get half a unit. So each of those groups right now should be getting about 98,000 through HPD. That won't necessarily change if we get the increase, but hopefully it will by a little bit. We really need to bring some new groups on board who have been doing the same work but not getting paid. Those groups are not in your district. Your district has a great concentration of funded Community Land Trust Initiative groups, which is wonderful, but we have groups that have been working for nearly as long in Ravenswood houses. Actually, there's a group of NYCHA residents that have formed a community land trust, have been doing the organizing work through COVID, focusing on a site that Department of Sanitation plans to abandon when a sanitation garage moves, probably in the next year or two, and hoping to have that site be dedicated to community. There's a group in Flatbush that has been organizing actually homeowners and small homes and kind of tax class 1 rental properties and trying to put together an assemblage that'll create a preservation strategy for those homes. There's another group in South Brooklyn that's working with folks in terms of estate planning and getting homes to go into the CLT, and they're all just volunteer, or they're getting small grant funding, but none of them are in the initiative. So we would love to have the groups that are already funded get a little more money, and we would love to grow the number of groups.
All right, that's good. Thank you for your statement. All right.
Thank you so much.
Okay, now we will turn to our remote testimony. First, we will hear from Emily Goldstein. Emily Goldstein, who will be followed by Kevin Wolf.
Emily, you may begin.
Sorry, have to find the unmute. Apologies. Thank you very much for the opportunity to testify today. My name is Emily Goldstein. I'm the Director of Organizing and Advocacy at the Association for Neighborhood and Housing Development, or ANHD. Appreciate Chair Salamanca and the committee for holding these hearings. I want to specifically talk about a couple of things, and we'll submit longer testimony online. First, it became clear, even in the course of your questions to the previous panel and to the commissioner, that there's a lot to grapple with the City of Yes text amendments that are coming through, both on the economic development side and on the housing side. We're also looking ahead to the implementation of the new Fair Housing Framework Law, which we're very excited about, and the new planning that's going to take place around industrial zones. And so it's really more important than ever for New Yorkers to be able to understand and engage in an empowered and thoughtful way with the land use and planning processes that are happening in their communities. And we know, unfortunately, that in a lot of situations, that is just not the experience that people have with the land use and rezoning process. And so we are proposing and asking for your support for a new initiative to do land use capacity building that would provide resources, including trainings, both virtual and in person, print and online popular education materials, and technical assistance to help community members, council members, community boards really engage in the zoning and planning processes that are happening in their neighborhoods. This is an area that ANHD has a robust history with. We've done a lot of this type of work, and we're getting requests for support that are beyond our capacity to fulfill. And so we are hoping to be able to work with and partner with you all to just increase capacity to really give all of those who are meant to be engaged and involved in the land use process the opportunity to do that effectively. I also want to make a quick plug. We did this with the Small Business Committee as well, but there's obviously crossover in interest for better and sustained funding for industrial business service providers. This is particularly relevant in this context because we are going to be rolling out the industrial strategic planning that was passed by law last year. And this is funding for nonprofits that work every day with the 40,000 industrial firms in this city's industrial business zones and who are really going to be important and crucial on the ground to help make this new planning process work and be as effective as possible. Thank you very much for your time. Happy to answer any questions. And again, submitted longer testimony online.
Thank you for your testimony.
Kevin Wolf.
Great. Thank you, Chair Salamanca, and thank you to the Committee on Land Use. My name is Kevin Wolf. I am with the Center for New York City Neighborhoods. We are one of the largest homeowner service organizations in New York City. We were actually founded by the City Council in part back in 2008, and the Council has provided annually nearly $5 million in support for homeowner services, including foreclosure prevention, as well as home repair. The center, part of our role is to advocate for New Yorkers at all stages of the homeownership journey, from buying a home to maintaining the home with home repair to foreclosure prevention and to estate planning. And when we look at the City of Yes proposal, the center is strongly supportive of bold steps to dramatically expand affordable homeownership opportunities in particular, particularly for low to moderate income families, by building more homes. We are recommending that the city make a wide-scale investment in new development of multifamily affordable homeownership at scale. And this could include a mix of limited equity, co-ops, condos, as well as community land trust. And we were very happy to see Chair Pirina Sanchez and her $2 billion initiative towards new construction as well. Our proposal includes an ambitious plan to create 120,000 new units of permanently affordable homeownership that would house 400,000 New Yorkers over a 25-year period. And the vision really is that this homeownership would be at scale across New York City. In fact, the homeownership would be placed in areas, geographic areas of the city that don't currently have a large homeownership population. And it would be really a model for what cities could do across the country. We would use a mixture, as I mentioned before, of limited equity co-ops, condos, as well as community land trust. And this will ensure that these projects maintain affordability for future generations. And we're looking, in particular, to build on the commitment that the administration has made of nearly $900 million for additional capital dollars for the construction of new homeownership development. And also, we'd look to engage unions, insurance companies to be active stakeholders that can put in equity into new homeownership. Finally, when it comes to new development, New York City could also look to investing in down payment assistance programs. Obviously, there's been a restarting of HPD's down payment assistance program, but also post-purchase counseling and estate planning. We were happy to see the speaker strongly support new estate planning investment and look forward to working with the council member on those items. We know that in order to make sure that we have affordable homeownership accessible to all New Yorkers, we have to increase and build new homeownership, but we also have to preserve the existing affordable homeownership that we have. So thank you for the opportunity to testify today, and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for your testimony. All right, with that
concludes this preliminary hearing for land use. I want to thank all the speakers. I want to thank the public, land use staff, and the finance staff for putting this together. I want to thank the Sergeant at Arms, and we're hereby adjourned.